Chapter 8:19. Ask around. It could be said that the clothes Gohuli was wearing were out of print. That was why she dared to say that if Lin Yi and the others bought the same clothes, she would chop off her own head. How's that? Did you hear that? You've given up now, haven't you? Gohuli turned around proudly and looked at Lin Yi, Meng Yao, and Yushu. Now you're embarrassed, aren't you? Don't you have a membership card? But so what if you have a membership card? It's all sold out. Even if you had 100 membership cards, you wouldn't be able to do it, let alone 3. Are you sure that there's no more of this type of clothing? Lin Yi frowned. He finally understood where Gohuli's confidence came from. She probably knew that there was no more stock for this type of clothing. That was why she dared to make such a bold claim. Yes, other than the one in the display window, there's no more in stock. The salesgirl said apologetically. Can't you sell the one in the display window? Lin Yi asked. I'm sorry, sir, but I don't have the authority to open the display window, the salesgirl explained. Because the items in the display window are arranged by the sales department of the commercial building, and they can only be changed periodically. Our normal salespeople and salespeople don't have the keys to the display window. Oh, I see, Lin Yi nodded and looked at Meng Yao. Give me your membership card. Meng Yao paused, not knowing what Lin Yi was going to do. She took out her wallet from her pocket and handed the membership card to Lin Yi. Lin Yi took the card and passed it to the salesgirl. Take this card and find the manager of the sales department. Ask him if you can sell the sample in the display window. Diamond card. The salesgirl paused and shook her head. I'm sorry, sir. Although you're a respected Diamond VIP member, we can't sell it. This is a rule set by the commercial building a long time ago, You 3 servants really haven't seen the world. Gohuli laughed coldly at Lin Yi's actions. You think you can act all high and mighty just because you have a Diamond membership card? That was a mistake. I even have a Diamond membership card, but this is the rule of them all. Who are you? You think you can change other people's rules? What a joke. I've never seen people as unsophisticated as you. I don't know how your master usually teaches you. You're actually so ignorant. You think you can act cool just because you have a Diamond card? How naive. Gohuli's words were so sarcastic that even the shop assistant couldn't stand it anymore. She was just asking if the Diamond card had this privilege, and she didn't say anything else. But here she was, mocking her. Did she do anything to piss you off? Lin Yi didn't respond to Gohuli's words. He treated her like a mad dog and it was a waste of time to talk to her. Just do as I say. Show this card to your sales manager, and he'll tell you if the clothes are for sale or not. Lin Yi said directly to the shop assistant, just do as I say, show this card to your sales manager, and he'll tell you if the clothes are for sale. That. Okay. The salesgirl had no choice but to agree to Lin Yi's insistence. After all, this was a request from a Diamond customer. The employees of Pingzhan Industries were trained to put the customer first. They couldn't just ignore the customer's request. Even if the customer's request was unreasonable, they had to explain patiently or report it to the higher-ups. You still want to try? Try what? What a joke. Gohuli didn't expect the salesgirl to agree to Lin Yi's request. She was instantly annoyed. Why didn't you just reject him? What's the point of wasting time? Of course, I want to try. There are people at home waiting for you to twist their heads off, Lin Yi said indifferently. Oh, that person is me. Yushu quickly raised her hand to express her intention. Humph. Gohuli glared at Lin Yi and Yushu. She thought to herself, if that's the case, I'll let you two be happy for a while. You two really won't give up until you see the coffin. Meng Yao saw that Lin Yi passed the card to the salesgirl and asked her to look for the sales manager. She could roughly guess Lin Yi's intention. Lin Yi was planning to use her identity as the Miss as a stepping stone. In fact, Lin Yi had the same thought. He could see some clues from the face of the security guard. The security guard saw the information on Meng Yao's diamond card and recognized her identity as the Miss of Pingzhan Industries. If a security guard could recognize Meng Yao, then how could the sales manager of Pingzhan Business Building not know her? After seeing the information on Meng Yao's card, he probably wouldn't care about the rules anymore. He would just take out the clothes and sell them to Meng Yao. Who was in charge of Pingzhan Business Building? Of course, it was Pingzhan Industries. Who was the biggest in Pingzhan Industries? Wasn't that Chu Pingzhan? Meng Yao was Chu Pingzhan's only daughter, the future heir of Pingzhan Industries. How could these small managers not please Meng Yao? So, Go Huli's ending was already decided. She would see how she would twist her head off. Although the salesgirl was confused, since Lin Yi insisted, she still took the card from Lin Yi and quickly walked to the sales manager's office. This was the office of their direct superior. The salesgirl was a little nervous. She took a deep breath and knocked on the door. "Come in." A deep male voice came from inside. The salesgirl pushed the door open and said nervously, "Manager Wang, I'm sorry, I want to disturb you." "Oh. You are?" Manager Wang obviously didn't know who the salesgirl was. There were too many salesgirls in the building. How could he recognize each and every one of them? "I'm Chen Lily, the salesgirl of the luxury goods counter in the clothing department." The salesgirl introduced herself. "Oh, what's the matter?" Manager Wang didn't have any impression of Chen Lily. He nodded when he heard that she was his subordinate. "It's like this. There's a diamond customer who wants to buy the display items in the window," Chen Lily said. Chapter 820. Chapter 0820, Destined Tragedy. Manager Wang, I've already explained to this customer, but he insisted that I show you his membership card. Chen Lily explained, "Didn't you say that we have to try our best to satisfy the customer's request? Even if it's an unreasonable request, we have to report it to the higher authorities." Manager Wang nodded. If the customer insisted, then Chen Lily wasn't wrong. He said, "Give me the membership card, I'll take a look first." Manager Wang wasn't an idiot since he was able to reach the position of marketing manager. Naturally, he knew that a customer who could say such a thing must have a high status. If the customer was really someone important, like a strategic partner of Pingzhan Industries, then he really couldn't afford to offend them. He could only call Pingzhan's assistant, Faubert. Chen Lily passed Meng Yao's membership card to Manager Wang. There was a credit card machine in Manager Wang's office. Manager Wang swiped it on the computer and the information on the card was displayed. Manager Wang took a look at the member's name on the card and took a deep breath. Meng Yao, he knew what this name meant. Wasn't this the Miss of Pingzhan Industries? The Miss actually came to shop in person. Manager Wang felt that it was a little unbelievable. If the Miss wanted something, she just needed to tell Faubert and Faubert would be able to get it done. There was no need for the Miss to do it herself, right? However, Manager Wang suddenly remembered that the Miss was usually very low-key. She really didn't come to the mall to buy anything through Faubert. She always came to the mall herself, but she didn't make it public. Manager Wang only saw that the Miss had come here to buy things from the membership record. Thinking about this, Manager Wang understood that the Miss was probably a low-key person. She didn't like to show off. This time, there was no other way. The style she wanted was gone, so she had no choice but to ask the shop assistant to take out the membership card and look for him. "Let's go, I'll go there myself." Manager Wang took Mingyao's membership card and said to Chen Lily. Chen Lily was stunned. She didn't know why Manager Wang had such a reaction after seeing the membership card. Was there any secret in this membership card? However, Manager Wang naturally wouldn't explain to Chen Lily. Since the Missy was a low-key person, she probably didn't want others to know her identity. Otherwise, she could have just called Faubert, and everything would be solved. Or he could just ask the shop assistant to convey her identity. There was no need to use such an obscure method to tell him. As Manager Wang walked out of the office, he ordered an employee of the sales department to take out the clothes from the display window. This made Chen Lily dumbfounded. Does Manager Wang really agree to sell the exhibits in the display window? This had never happened before, right? But since Manager Wang didn't want to explain, she didn't want to ask anymore. She followed the manager to the luxury goods counter of the clothing department, and Manager Wang quickly walked over and took out Mingyao's membership card. Who's this membership card for? It's mine. Mingyao didn't hide her identity anymore as she nodded to the manager. Nice to meet you, Miss Chu. This is your membership card. Manager Wang quickly returned the membership card to Mingyao respectfully. I've already sent someone to get the exhibits in the display window. They will be here in a moment. Can you please wait for a moment? Okay, thank you. Mingyao naturally knew that Manager Wang knew who she was. Then I'll have to trouble you. I'll wait by myself. Can you go ahead? No hurry. Manager Wang quickly shook his head. Oh, hey, old lady, when are you going to perform a head-twisting performance? We got you the exact same clothes. Yushu couldn't wait to call out to Go Huli after the clothes were bought. Old lady. Who's the old lady? I'm only in my 30s, okay? Where's my beauty? Yushu's words almost made Go Huli explode. How did she become an old lady? Go Huli was already a little angry when Manager Wang came out of nowhere to sell the clothes to Lin Yi's group. She didn't expect Yushu to call her an old lady. She was even more furious now. Who are you calling an old lady? Go Huli glared at Yushu. Oh, I don't know. Naturally, the oldest among us is the old lady. Yushu blinked innocently. Humph. Go Huli grunted in displeasure, but she wasn't in the mood to argue with Yushu and the others anymore. She was more concerned about why the mall would sell the clothes in the window to Lin Yi's group. This was what she had specifically asked before. The goods in the display window weren't for sale. Moreover, the shopping guide, Chen Lily, also said that the goods in the display window weren't for sale. However, when Manager Wang came, he agreed to sell them. But if he agreed to sell them, wouldn't it mean that she had lost the bet? How could Go Huli let this happen? She was confident that she could see Lin Yi's group lose face. Then, she would bring them home and humiliate them. She would make them work for her. But the situation changed. She actually lost. Didn't that mean that she would have to tear her head off in front of them? How could Go Huli tear her head off? Her face turned ugly. She looked at Manager Wang coldly. What's wrong with you guys? I thought the goods in the display window weren't for sale. Why are you selling them? Manager Wang paused. He didn't know what Go Huli was doing. But he still explained, our mall has its own rules. It's the mall's decision to sell the goods. What Manager Wang meant was, although you are a VIP of our mall, you can't interfere with the operation of our mall, can you? Aren't you being too nosy? You guys are going back on your words. I'm going to complain. I'm going to complain to the higher-ups of your group. Do you know who I am? How dare you not listen to my opinion? Let me tell you, even the chairman of a business association in a small place has to listen to my husband. Not to mention a small mall like yours. Go Huli was furious. She pointed at Manager Wang. Chapter 821. Chapter 0821. The Xiao family, it's your right to complain, but it's our decision whether to sell the clothes or not, Manager Wang said politely. Fine. I'll remember this. Just you wait. Go Huli didn't have a choice, she'd be a laughingstock if she stayed here any longer. What if Lin Yi paid and asked her to perform a head-twisting performance? How could Go Huli wait for that to happen? Therefore, she left behind some harsh words and turned around to leave. Wait, we haven't paid you for the clothes yet, Lin Yi stopped Go Huli. I don't want the clothes anymore. You guys have it easy. But remember this, I won't let this go. Go Huli said hatefully. You don't want it. It's fine if you don't want it, but you can see that we can buy the same clothes as you. Don't you owe us something? Lin Yi said faintly. Oh, quick, perform a head-twisting performance. Everyone look, this old lady is going to perform a head-twisting performance. She's even better than the clowns in the zoo. Yushu shouted. I didn't ask for the clothes, what performance? Go Huli glared at Yushu, I'll remember you too, just you wait. We'll settle the score next time. With that, Go Huli ignored Lin Yi and Yushu and walked towards the elevator. You let her go. Lin Yi looked at Meng Yao. Forget it, this kind of person isn't worth arguing with. Meng Yao shook her head, evidently not intending to be aggressive. Lin Yi shrugged. Since the miss said so, he wouldn't say anything else. Go Huli was just a clown in his eyes, but from what she said, her man seemed to have some power. He didn't know if it was true or not. It's so boring. Some old ladies just like to take advantage of their seniority. They said they were going to do a head-twisting performance, and now they're going back on their words. Yushu was getting bored. Go Huli staggered and almost fell to the ground, but even so, she sprained her ankle. She gritted her teeth in anger. She wanted to think about it later, but she couldn't take it anymore. She had to vent her anger. Go Huli took out her phone and dialed her man's number after entering the elevator. Hubby, I got bullied as soon as I got to Songshan. Not only did they drench me with a water gun, they didn't even compensate me for my clothes. They even humiliated me by telling me to pull my head off in front of them. Go Huli complained first, there's another girl who called me an old lady. I'm so young and pretty, how can I be an old lady? What's going on? Who are they? The man on the other side of the phone frowned, but he also knew what kind of person his wife was, so he didn't directly believe Go Huli's words. You didn't provoke them, why did they bully you? What was going on? Tell me the truth. Don't talk nonsense, you think I don't know you. Humph. It's just two housekeepers and a gardener, and they were playing around with the water gun in the villa. I just bought a villa for our family and wanted to take a look, but when I drove to the villa area, they poured water all over my head and face. Go Huli saw that her husband didn't believe her, and she could only tell the truth. I was thinking that we needed some workers to clean the house, didn't we? I wanted them to be free cleaners for a month, so I scared them and asked them to pay for my clothes, but they agreed. Then why did you say they humiliated you? The man humphed and asked. They were just a few servants, how could they afford to pay for my clothes? You know that I bought all my clothes from Pengzhan Commercial Building, and when I bought them, other than the display in the window, there was only one left. Go Huli explained, I thought that they definitely wouldn't be able to buy it. So I made a bet with them, saying that if they bought it, I would cut off my head, and if they couldn't, they would have to work hard for a month. And they bought it, right? The man was speechless. How could she say something like that? Cut off your head for them to see. Yeah, I didn't think that all the servants would have a diamond membership card of Pengzhan Business Tower. Their master treats them so well. Go Huli was a bit annoyed, but so what if they have a membership card? I thought that even if they had 100 membership cards, they wouldn't be able to buy the same clothes as me after they sold all the goods. But I didn't think that when they showed their membership card, a manager Wang came and wanted to sell the goods in the window to them. I'm so mad. I don't know what's wrong with this manager Wang, standing with a few slaves. Slaves. Servant. The man was pissed. Do you have a brain or not? How can a few maids and gardeners have a diamond membership card? From what I know, your diamond membership card was given to us because we are from a noble house. How can a few maids have a diamond membership card? Because their master treats them well. Go Huli didn't understand what the man meant. Master. Didn't you see it clearly? Those people are obviously not simple. Can you get a diamond membership card for your maids? At most, you can get a normal membership card. The man raged. They all have diamond membership cards, and they know the manager of the commercial building. They are obviously the masters of the villa. You just went there and you had a conflict with the neighbors. These three obviously have a lot of power in the area. How can you not see that? Ah. No way. Go Huli paused, but their clothes are so shabby, and which master of the villa personally cleans the place? Cleans the place because they want to exercise, or maybe they have nothing better to do. When my old man was still alive, he planted vegetables in the fields. Why don't you call him a servant? The man said angrily, You idiot, you just went there and you already made enemies. Chapter 822. Chapter 822, Chu Mingyao's identity, alright. Stop crying. We'll talk about this when I get to Songshan. I'm in Donghai right now, and Xiao Ben and I still need to visit House Kong. We'll get revenge for you after we're done here. Xiao Ji said helplessly. Then I'll just swallow it for now. I'm being bullied as soon as I get here. What will people think of me? Huli couldn't wait any longer. She was about to explode. She wanted to teach Lin Yi a lesson right here and now. Then what do you want to do? Xiao Ji said helplessly. I don't want to do this. Do you know anyone in Songshan? If not, find some hoodlums or hoodlums to teach them a lesson. Huli said. You don't even know their background and you're going to teach them a lesson? Xiao Ji frowned. What background could they have? They're just a couple of kids. Huli said disdainfully. Even if they have some background, can they be compared to our Xiao family? We're a noble house in Yanjing in a small place like this, who would dare to not give us face? Don't say that. We're doing business here, and we need the help of the local gentry. If we offend them all, then even if our Xiao family is a noble house, we're not familiar with this place. If they don't give us face, what should we do? Xiao Ji said in a low voice. Humph. How dare they? Let Uncle Pai kill them. House Xiao has a mystic class worshipper. Why would we be afraid of these upstarts? Go Huli smiled coldly and said proudly. You know that Uncle Pai is our family's worshipper. If father was here, Uncle Pai wouldn't be a problem. But now, Xiao Ben and I are a level lower than Uncle Pai. Father's gone, and Uncle Pai's feelings for our family have lessened. Right now, he's relying on father's face to stay here. Otherwise, do you really think we can hire a mystic class master with that little money? Are you dreaming? Xiao Ji said. Then. What do you think we should do? I'll just bear with it. Your wife is about to become a ninja turtle. People will say that the Xiao family's old man died, and the Xiao family is done for. You can't even win against a small upstart. Go Huli didn't want to give up. All right. Investigate the other party's background first and see who they are. No matter what, I have to wait until I pay a visit to old Master Kong. Xiao Ji said impatiently, It's not like you don't know about our Xiao family situation. To outsiders, we're one of the 4 big and 5 small families. But now, we can't even compare to the Kong family. Look at the industries in Yanjing City. How much money would be left after this sale? It can be said that our Xiao family starting a business in another city is starting from scratch. Our Xiao family is in a difficult situation now. Without the support of the Kong family, we may face a greater crisis. Don't you know that, you wastrel? Go Huli didn't know what to say. It wasn't that she didn't know, she just didn't want to accept it. She became the daughter-in-law of the Xiao family for less than 2 years. She just got to enjoy the feeling of marrying into a rich family, and now the Xiao family was in dire straits. She couldn't accept it. So the more it was like this, the more she wanted to show off the Xiao family's prestige. She wanted to use the Xiao family's name to fight for her face and act cool. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to accept this. Before Go Huli could finish, Xiao Ji hung up the phone. Go Huli wanted to throw the phone in her hand, but she remembered that this was the latest iPhone, and it cost her a few thousand. She hesitated and put it away. The Xiao family was in dire straits. Go Huli's monthly allowance wasn't as much as when she was a mistress. But she couldn't do anything about it. She knew that the Xiao family was in dire straits. She couldn't complain even if she wanted to. Go Huli decided that when she got back, she would go to the property management and ask for information about the owner of the villa. How could she live up to her identity as the daughter-in-law of the Xiao family if she didn't teach them a lesson? Thus, Go Huli rushed down the stairs to the parking lot, got in her car, and drove back to the villa district. She found the property management company and swaggered in. The property management company had the files of all the owners. As long as it wasn't explicitly told to be confidential, it could be checked directly. So Go Huli didn't spend much effort to find out the owner's name. It was Chu Mengyao. Chu Mengyao. Go Huli paused. She suddenly remembered that the maid who showed her the membership card had the surname Chu, and the other maid called her Yao Yao sis. Could she be Chu Mengyao? No way. She was the owner of the villa. Go Huli was a little surprised Mengyao and Yushu, on the other hand, weren't dressed very well. They were just normal sportswear, and Lin Yi, on the other hand, was wearing a big cloth shirt that couldn't be more tacky. He looked like a worker, a standard gardener's attire. That was why she thought that these people were just servants, but now it seemed that these people were the owners of this area. No wonder they had diamond membership cards. They were 3 rich second generations. But the more it was like this, the angrier Go Huli got. Since you guys are the owners, why didn't you refute me when I said you were servants? Are you guys pretending to be pigs to eat tigers? Are you playing with me? Hey, tell me, what's this Chu Mingyao's background? Go Huli called a security guard over and asked. Although Go Huli had just changed the name of the villa yesterday, almost everyone in the property management knew this domineering woman. She kept saying that she was a rich lady from Yanjing and pointed fingers at people. She was as domineering as a crab. When she came to do the procedures yesterday, it was the lunch break. But Go Huli threw the lunch box of a staff member and asked him to do the procedures for her immediately. The staff couldn't do anything to a domineering owner with a powerful background. They couldn't afford to offend her, so they could only swallow their anger. Chu Mengyao is the Miss of Pengzhan Industries. This was something everyone in the community knew. The security guard didn't hide it and told Go Huli directly. What? She's the Miss of Pengzhan Industries? Go Huli's eyes widened. Are you telling the truth? Chapter 823. The Xiao family's plans, this bitch. She's pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger, I'm so pissed. I won't let you go. Huli finally understood why manager Wang of Pingzhan Commercial Building would sell the samples in the windows. How could he not sell it when the miss of Pingzhan Industries was there? Go Huli ignored the guard and walked out of the company. She got into her sports car and angrily called her man, Xiao Ji's number. What do you want this time? Xiao Ji picked up impatiently. It was a bad decision to make Huli his mistress. She wasn't this troublesome back when they were still lovers. Honey, I've done my research. That housekeeper really is the owner of the villa. She's called Meng Yao, the miss of Pingzhan Industries. Huli said. See? What did I say? Housekeeper. I don't know what kind of eyes you have, offending her. Xiao Ji frowned. Pingzhan Industries. Isn't that Pingzhan Industries? Is this Pingzhan very powerful? Huli asked carefully, sensing the unfriendliness in Xiao Ji's tone. Not really, but Pingzhan Industries is one of the largest corporations in the province. Offending them means you've added another enemy to our Xiao family. Xiao Ji said unhappily. I'll call you back later. I'll ask Xiao Ben and see what we should do. Okay. Huli didn't dare say much and quickly hung up. She thought to herself, Pingzhan Industries may be one of the largest corporations in the province, but so what? Xiao family came to Songshan and couldn't find a place to establish their dominance. Finding Pingzhan Industries to do that would be a good idea. Xiao Ji hung up and told Xiao Ben about Huli's situation. He wanted to discuss a plan with him. In the Xiao family, Xiao Ji was the eldest, but Xiao Ben was the one who called the shots. Xiao Ji's personality was rather crude, and Xiao Ben was the true brains. Brother, what do you think we should do? Xiao Ji told Xiao Ben about how Go Huli offended the miss of Pingzhan Industries. He wanted to ask for his opinion. It's all your sister-in-law's fault. She's a reckless person, causing trouble as soon as she came to Songshan. Oh. Trouble. Xiao Ben shook his head and said with a smile, this is a good move. Our Xiao family is unfamiliar with this place, and the only one we have a good relationship with is the Kong family. But this is obviously not enough. A lot of companies probably don't know the reputation of our Xiao family. I was just looking for an opportunity to establish my prestige, and sister-in-law delivered herself to my doorstep. Why not? Xiao Ji didn't understand. Brother, you mean we are going to be enemies with Pingzhan Industries? We can't be considered enemies. Xiao Ben waved his hand. But it's true that we can make them bleed and cough up some benefits. What good would it do to be his enemy? Our Xiao family's foundation isn't here. Now is a time of internal and external troubles. It's not a good time to start a feud. What we need to do is to pressure Pingzhan Industries into giving in and compensating us. Then, they'll cede some of their properties to us. This way, our Xiao family won't have to start from scratch again. Brother, you're so thorough. This way, not only will our Xiao family get some benefits, but we won't have to fight Pingzhan Industries to the point where both sides lose. Xiao Ji nodded, but he was still a little doubtful. But will Pingzhan really give in? Humph. Our Xiao family's name is right there. How dare he not give in? And we'll stick to this matter. Pingzhan didn't give Xiao family any face at all, bullying my sister-in-law. If he doesn't compensate us and doesn't cede any profits, then fine. Let's have Uncle Pai go to their house and see if they'll give in. Xiao Ben laughed coldly. This Pingzhan's daughter sure is arrogant. Ha 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 ha, this is the perfect opportunity for me to blackmail them. Brother, you're right. Xiao Ji calmed down after hearing that he could ask Uncle Pai to go to Pingzhan. He'd heard that Pingzhan's bodyguard, Faubert, was only a golden class late-phase peak physical practitioner. That was a level lower than Uncle Pai. If Uncle Pai were to step in, Pingzhan wouldn't dare say anything. Xiao family was a powerful house, how could a small businessman like him bully them? If he didn't teach him a lesson, he wouldn't know how powerful Xiao family was. Alright, let's go visit House Kong first. Xiao Ben settled the matter with just a few words, putting Xiao Ji at ease. He'd thought that his wife had made enemies the moment she arrived in Songshan, and that it wouldn't be good for Xiao family's future development. But he didn't think that his brother would turn a bad situation into a good one so easily, turning this conflict into an excuse for Xiao family to get rich. Yes, his wife didn't seem too bad. Being a little arrogant had its benefits. He'd have to praise her when he got home and let her continue being arrogant. Uncle Pai isn't here yet. Xiao Ji looked at the time on his watch. I've already sent someone to the hotel to pick him up. If it wasn't for Uncle Pai, I'd really be afraid that old fox Dr. Kong would cause some trouble. House Kong and Xiao family haven't been very close lately. Xiao Ben sighed. House Kang's attitude made the Xiao family brothers a little anxious. The Xiao family brothers were very clear about House Kang's goal. The so-called marriage was nothing more than using the Xiao family as a springboard for House Kong to become a noble house. But as the Xiao family fell further and further, House Kong was probably starting to look down on the Xiao family's usefulness. The Xiao family sold their business in Yanjing and came to Songshan for two reasons. One was to facilitate the marriage between House Kong and House Xiao, and the other was because the competition in the business world wasn't as fierce as in Yanjing. The Xiao family brothers were in a difficult situation in Yanjing. Their grandfather's old friends had all turned their backs on them. Even House Yu didn't see the Xiao family as a noble house anymore. At the end of the day, the Xiao family didn't have anyone who could stand on the stage. The Xiao family didn't have any masters. Although they had Uncle Pai, a mystic class master, he was still a master. It wasn't the Xiao family's strength. Xiao family started off as a business family. At its peak, it was because of Uncle Pai's support that the Xiao family became a noble house. But now, the Xiao family brothers didn't have the power of Uncle Xiao family's old man, and Uncle Pai's attitude had changed. The Xiao family was naturally a lot weaker. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben regretted not training with Uncle Pai when they were young. If the Xiao family brothers were just golden class masters, they wouldn't be in this situation. Chapter 824. The Xiao family's visit in SUV with Yanjing's license plate slowly drove over. Uncle Pai had arrived. The two brothers of the Xiao family also got in the car and drove to the Kong family's villa with the MPV. Dad, the Xiao family is here. Should we go welcome them? Kong Guifeng had received a call from the Xiao family brothers and came to the study room of his father, Dr. Kong. Oh. They're here. Looks like they can't wait any longer. Dr. Kong curled his lips and said with disdain, I heard that the Xiao family is just an empty shell now. Yes, according to my investigation, House Kong has sold all their properties in Yanjing and is preparing to invest in Songshan. Kong Guifeng nodded. Why Songshan and not Donghai? Dr. Kong asked. With the little money they have left, it won't be enough in a city like Donghai. There are too many rich people here, they won't be able to show off their Xiao family. Kong Guifeng's guess wasn't far off the mark. The Xiao family really did want to do that. Besides, with House Kong in Donghai and the hidden House Xiao, they wouldn't be able to show off their Xiao family at all. They chose Songshan so that they could use the Xiao family's influence to dominate the city. Dr. Kong nodded, go ahead, but don't make it too grand. With House Kang's current strength, we can only get on the Xiao family's good side. The Xiao family has been down lately, but isn't it the same for House Kong? Yeah, we've been losing a lot lately as well. Miracle Dr. Guan and Fatty Lai have set us up. Kong Guifeng said, now we just have to see if Zhao Ming can get his hands on House Guan's recipe. Right, how's Xiaoming doing? Dr. Kong asked. Zhao Qibing accidentally injured him during the demolition, but I heard that Kong Mingming wanted to settle it himself and asked them to pay for it, Kong Guifeng said. As for his relationship with Guan Exan, it seems like there's no progress. Doesn't this brat always boast that he's a master at picking up girls? Why hasn't he succeeded after so long? Dr. Kong was a little anxious and then asked, by the way, is his injury serious? I'm not sure about that, but Kong Mingming didn't say it himself. I guess he's fine. Kong Guifeng shook his head. It didn't take long for the Shao family brothers to arrive with Uncle Pai. Dr. Kong didn't want to show up, but when he heard that Uncle Pai was here, he ran out of his room and apologized when he saw the Shao family brothers and Uncle Pai. I'm so sorry, Elder Pai, Shao Ji, Shao Ben, I'm getting old and sleepy, so I fell asleep. It's fine, it's fine. Shao Ben waved his hand nonchalantly as he stood up with Shao Ji. We're just two juniors, how could we trouble you, Dr. Kong? We're flattered. Shao Ben, on the other hand, was smiling coldly inwardly. You old fox, if you hadn't heard that Uncle Pai was here, you'd probably still be hiding, wouldn't you? In fact, that was the case. As for the engagement, Dr. Kong didn't really care. After all, an engagement wasn't marriage, and he could call it off at any time. As long as House Kong found a stronger backer, or if he had more power, he could get rid of the Shao family. Shao Ji and Shao Ben felt the change in Dr. Kang's attitude, and understood that if it weren't for Uncle Pai, this marriage would be troublesome. After saying goodbye to Dr. Kong, Shao Ji and Shao Ben left House Kang's mansion dejectedly. It was like a tiger being bullied by a dog. But the news of the Shao family's downfall couldn't be suppressed, and Dr. Kong would find out sooner or later. Chapter 825. The troublemaker with Hooligan, Meng Yao and Yushu naturally wouldn't buy the clothes in the showroom. The style was obviously for a young married woman, but even if that wasn't the case, Meng Yao wouldn't wear the same clothes as a shrew like Huli. Manager Wang saw that Meng Yao didn't want the clothes again, and Huli left in a huff. He guessed that Huli must have pissed off the miss, and the miss got mad at her. That was why this happened. But Manager Wang, naturally, wouldn't ask too many questions. The miss didn't want the clothes anymore, and he acted as if he didn't know anything. He turned to Meng Yao. Miss Chu, please walk around a bit more, and contact me if you need anything. Here's my name card. Alright, Manager Wang. You can go now. The miss took the name card and passed it to Lin Yi. Manager Wang looked at Lin Yi, a strange light flashing in his eyes. He heard that Ping Zhan had a son-in-law who was the second biggest shareholder of the company, but he'd never attended a board meeting. Could it be that the person beside the miss was the second biggest shareholder of the company? But looking at the clothes he was wearing, it was quite shabby. Even so, Manager Wang didn't dare underestimate him. Rich people had a lot of dirty tricks up their sleeves. He looked at the miss again, and saw that she was only wearing the normal sportswear given out by the school. It was impossible to tell who she was from the outside. Meng Yao didn't have any intentions of walking around anymore. She didn't have anything else to buy. She turned to Yushu. Shu, what are we going to do now? I don't know, I was quite happy that I could have some fun, but that old woman's a liar. Yushu complained, a little unhappy. It's so boring, let's go see if there's anything interesting. What's interesting around here? Meng Yao didn't think that there was anything interesting in the business district. Yeah, there's a Tiandi's Wonderful Times arcade not far from here. I want to go check it out. Yushu said. What's there to see in an arcade? There's a lot of gangsters there, it's very dangerous. Meng Yao said subconsciously. Yushu used to want to go to an arcade as well, but Meng Yao used this reason to reject her. We have Shield Bro now, there's nothing to be afraid of now. Yushu said. If the gangsters bother us, Shield Bro will beat them up. Meng Yao paused after hearing Yushu's words. It was true that they wouldn't be in any danger now that they had Master Lin by their side. Normal gangsters wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Lin Yi, Shu wants to go to the arcade? Meng Yao asked. Lin Yi was a little surprised. The miss was asking for his opinion. She had never been like this before. It seemed that after the incident at the hospital, the young lady had really changed a little. Lin Yi said, the 2, 1, 1, 1, the Lin Li, Lins, Lin think. Lin Mingyao wanted to see what an arcade looked like. Would people laugh at her if she told them she'd never been to an arcade before? Meng Yao actually wanted to see what the arcade looked like. She was a grown-up now, and she didn't know if people would laugh at her if she told them she'd never been to an arcade before. However, this was the life of the Miss and Shu before they met Lin Yi. It looked glamorous, but it was boring. The three left Pengzhan Commercial Building. Lin Yi drove to a large entertainment center according to Yushu's directions. There were video games, billiards, and internet cafes. There were a lot of young people here, and one could tell from the frequency of people coming in and out that this place was very popular. The first floor of the entertainment center was half an arcade and the other half a billiards hall. Meng Yao and Yushu had never been here before. They'd only seen it on TV before. Lin Yi, can you go buy some tokens? Meng Yao knew that tokens were used here, so she asked Lin Yi. Lin Yi nodded and walked to the bar. Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, started walking around the arcade, wanting to see if there were any interesting games to play. Pretty girl, wanna play together? Meng Yao and Yushu had just walked into the arcade when a few delinquents at the entrance stared at them. Someone came up to them after they were alone. It was a red-haired young man. Meng Yao and Yushu were always the center of attention no matter where they went. Although they were only wearing normal sportswear today, they looked more like students, making the delinquents think that they didn't have any powerful background. Meng Yao looked at the red-haired young man coldly and ignored him. Yushu, on the other hand, was curious. Hey, why is your hair red? Did you look like this when you were young? Hey, you want to know? I don't mind taking you to a place with no one around so you can study it. The red-haired young man said excitedly when he saw the big-breasted Yushu talking to him. I don't really want to know. Yushu shook her head. I just think it's ugly, like a turkey. The red-haired young man wasn't happy when he heard Yushu's words. What do you mean, girl? It's fine if you don't want to play, but you don't have to curse at me, do you? Meng Yao was a little annoyed. This Yushu was a troublemaker, causing trouble the moment she came. She shouldn't have come if she knew this would happen. If it weren't for Lin Yi, the two of them would have been in trouble. In fact, Yushu wasn't stupid. If it weren't for Lin Yi, she wouldn't have caused trouble. The red-haired young man's words attracted a few delinquents, and they surrounded Meng Yao and Yushu. What do you want? Meng Yao frowned. She didn't expect these people to be so reckless. Were there no security here? Meng Yao had never been to a place like this before, so naturally, she didn't know that there weren't any security here. There were only a few gangsters watching the place, but they wouldn't come out as long as there wasn't a huge commotion. She scolded our red-hair bro, what do you think we should do? A bald young man with a cigarette in his mouth pointed at Yushu. Fine, it's her fault. I'll apologize on her behalf, okay? Meng Yao didn't want to cause trouble. Okay. You think it's okay? How about this, let this girl play with our red-hair bro for a while, and we'll forget about it. The baldy said. Don't cross the line. How could Meng Yao agree to this? Let Shu play with them. Chapter 826. Leaving just like that. Wah. Mingyao's eyes went wide. What was that supposed to mean? How could he just touch Shu like that? No. Mingyao rejected Red Hair's suggestion. I don't want to use force, there's no point. Red Hair was getting angry at Mingyao's lack of appreciation. I don't want to make a big deal out of this either. Mingyao was referring to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi were to take care of this, these people would probably be lying on the ground. Fine, I'll give you another choice. One of you will race with me. If you win, we'll forget about this, but if you lose, you two have to stay with me tonight. Red Hair said as if he had Mingyao in his grasp. He thought that Mingyao was scared after hearing her words, so he made a request that was even more ridiculous. Everyone knew that he was the racing god here, and there were few who could beat him in this simulation game. Oh, and if you lose? Lin Yi suddenly appeared behind Red Hair and whispered into his ear, giving Red Hair a fright. His scalp was about to explode. He thought he'd seen a ghost. Red Hair turned around and saw Lin Yi. Kid, where did you come from? Are you trying to be nosy? I'm with them. Lin Yi said faintly. Answer me, what happens if you lose? How could I lose? The red-haired man seemed to have heard an extremely funny joke as he coldly laughed and said with disdain. Since it's a competition, we have to be fair. They'll stay with you tonight if they lose, but what if you lose? Lin Yi asked faintly, ignoring Red Hair's laughter. They'll stay with me if they lose, and I'll stay with them if I lose. Red Hair laughed lewdly. If that's the case, then there's no need to compete. Let's go. Lin Yi turned to Mingyao and Yushu. This guy's retarded, he can't even understand simple logic. There's no point in winning against an idiot like him. Oh, I think so too. Yushu nodded in agreement. She wasn't afraid of Red Hair now that Lin Yi was here. Mingyao also covered her mouth and laughed. Lin Yi's words were a little infuriating, but this Red Hair was indeed a little unreasonable. He was the one who came to talk to her first, and she didn't even do anything to provoke him. Kid, you mean you're leaving just like that? Who do you think you are? Red Hair was a bit annoyed by Lin Yi's attitude. He was considered a famous person in this arcade, and there was someone who dared to not give him face. If that's the case, then don't leave. Don't look for trouble for yourself. Lin Yi ignored Red Fur. Lin Yi didn't care about this kind of person. Mingyao and Yushu felt more confident now that Lin Yi was here. They left with Lin Yi, one on the left and one on the right. Shield bro, how many tokens did you buy? Is it enough to play with? Yushu seemed to have forgotten about Red Hair as she looked at the tokens in Lin Yi's hand excitedly. Motherfucker, leave them here. Red Hair didn't want to cause trouble in the arcade. After all, the boss here had a lot of background, but Lin Yi and the others were so arrogant. If Red Hair didn't do something, he'd lose all his face today. Red Hair said as he reached out to grab Yushu. But before his hand could touch Yushu, he was grabbed tightly, unable to move. I said, don't look for trouble for yourself. Do you not understand? Lin Yi looked at Red Hair and asked coldly. Red Hair struggled to break free from Lin Yi's hand, but he realized that his wrist was clamped by an iron clamp. He couldn't move at all. He was terrified. Let me go, I'll fuck your mother. Crack, Lin Yi increased the strength in his hand. Although Lin Yi didn't know who his mother was, Red Hair's words still angered Lin Yi. If he used a little more strength, Red Hair's wrist would be crippled. Ouch! Red Hair cried out in pain. He felt that his wrist was about to explode from Lin Yi's grip. Let go of Red Hair bro. Baldy saw that Red Hair's hand was grabbed by Lin Yi and panicked. While Lin Yi couldn't move his right hand, he threw a punch at Lin Yi's back, preparing to ambush Lin Yi. As long as Lin Yi felt pain, he'd probably let go of Red Hair's arm. Lin Yi, watch out. Meng Yao was shocked and quickly reminded Lin Yi. Baldy laughed coldly in his heart. Your warning was useless. Unless Lin Yi let go of Red Hair and turned around to block the attack, he would definitely be hit by Red Hair. However, Baldy's sneer didn't last long. His expression froze, and with a crack, he flew out. Lin Yi's leg kicked out at an unbelievable angle and strength. It was almost a 90-degree angle, and it sent Baldy flying, crashing into the wall of the arcade. Along with Baldy, the gangsters who wanted to ambush Lin Yi were hesitant. The angle of the kick was too unimaginable. Normal people could kick people from the back, but it had to be done at a certain distance, and they couldn't use too much strength. It was impossible for Lin Yi to send someone flying with one kick. Red Hair wasn't an idiot, he knew that Lin Yi wasn't easy to get along with just one move from Lin Yi. He knew that he'd met a tough opponent this time, and his tone wasn't as tough as before. Bro, where are you from? Who's your boss? You might even know him. My boss is standing right there. Lin Yi pointed at Meng Yao and Yushu with his other hand, and Yushu even raised her hand to greet Red Hair. Fuck, are you messing with me? Red Hair subconsciously thought that Lin Yi was messing with him. What kind of boss had two girls? Wasn't this bullshit? Red Hair was furious. I don't care who you work for, do you know who's in charge of this place? This is Zhou Ruoguang Bro's place, and you're messing around here. Are you tired of living? Zhou Ruoguang. Lin Yi paused. No wonder the sign, Tiandi's Wonderful Entertainment Center, sounded familiar. It was Zhou Tiandi's business. Red Hair's underlings had gone to get Zhou Ruoguang as well. The situation here was out of their control. Lin Yi was no weak, Baldy was lying on the ground with a kick, and Red Hair was being held hostage as well. The underlings didn't dare act rashly, and could only go to Zhou Ruoguang for help. Chapter 827. Did I say something wrong? What's going on? Zhou Ruoguang looked at Baldy impatiently. Guang bro, someone's messing around in the arcade and caught Red Hair bro. Can you go take a look? Baldy said carefully. Master June. I'm sorry, I have to go take a look. Zhou Ruoguang heard that someone was messing around in the arcade and even caught Red Hair. He couldn't just ignore it. Although Redhead wasn't his subordinate, Redhead was still one of the pillars of his game hall. He was an expert in simulation racing. Many people would come to challenge Redhead, which brought great benefits to the popularity of the game hall. Oh, let's go take a look then. Next to Zhou Ruoguang, a very handsome young man put down the billiard cue in his hand and said, "It just so happens that playing billiards is quite boring. There is something that can add some fun." Zhou Ruoguang relaxed after seeing that Master June didn't show any dissatisfaction. Since Master June is interested, let's go take a look together. Master June's name was Zhening June. His father, Zhen Dazhou, was a famous entertainment tycoon in Donghai City. He owned a few entertainment cities and the direction of Zhou Ruoguang's business was very similar. The two families were discussing a partnership. Tiandi couldn't expand his business in Songshan due to Zihua's suppression, and it was the same for Zhen Dazhou. He was doing quite well in Donghai, but there were just too many ruthless people in the city, and Dazhou's growth was restricted as well. The two hit it off right away, planning to set up a gambling boat between Donghai and Songshan. They'd be making huge profits from the illegal gambling business. Of course, the two of them started their business in entertainment cities and knew about casinos very well. They knew the profits and the gambling ship was safer on the sea. It was easy to avoid detection, so making money shouldn't be a problem. However, Zhendaozhou was obviously more powerful than Zhou Ruoguang. This time, Zhendaozhou was the leader of the gambling ship and Zhou Tiandi was the assistant. It was impossible for Zhou Tiandi to build a luxurious gambling ship with his current wealth. Thus, Zhou Tiandi only owned a small part of the shares while Zhendaozhou owned the majority. As a result, whenever Zhou Ruoguang and Jining Jun were together, Zhou Ruoguang treated Jining Jun as his leader and called him Master Jun. Zhou Ruoguang and Jining Jun followed the baldy out of the billiards hall and came to the game hall next door. A few gangster-like people followed behind Zhou Ruoguang. They were all his underlings. Zhou Ruoguang couldn't handle it himself when someone was causing trouble in his place. He didn't have the guts to do so either. He only gave a few orders and left the rest to his underlings. Today, Zhou Ruoguang wanted Jining Jun to see his powerful side. He yelled as soon as he entered the game hall, "Who dares to cause trouble in my, Zhou Ruoguang's place? Are you tired of living?" Lin Yi didn't expect Zhou Ruoguang to come so quickly. But since he came, it saved Lin Yi a lot of trouble. He grabbed Red Hair's arm and looked up at Zhou Ruoguang. "It's him. I caught him for you." G.A. Zhou Ruoguang heard Lin Yi's voice and paused for a moment. He then looked at Lin Yi and realized that the person causing trouble in the place was Lin Yi. Zhou Ruoguang complained in his heart. This Red Hair was really blind. Of all the people he could have messed with, why did he have to mess with a god like Lin Yi? Did he have nothing better to do? "Guang bro, save me." Red Hair saw Zhou Ruoguang and thought that his savior was here. He immediately called for help. Zhou Ruoguang was instantly annoyed. "What are you shouting for? I can't wait to draw a line between us, and you want me to save you? Do you think I'm stupid?" However, Zhou Ruoguang reacted quickly. After hearing Lin Yi's words, he knew that Red Hair provoked Lin Yi. He walked down the stairs. "Red Hair, you don't look like a good person. How dare you cause trouble in my place? Go and beat him up until I can't recognize him." Which one of Zhou Ruoguang's men didn't know Red Hair? When they heard Zhou Ruoguang's order, they couldn't help but be stunned. "Beat Red Hair. Guang bro said something wrong, right?" Hence, they looked at Zhou Ruoguang in confusion. "Guang bro, did you say something wrong?" Baldy asked, puzzled. However, Zhou Ruoguang didn't bother with the bald man anymore. Instead, he said to his men, "What are you looking at? Do it. I've raised a bunch of useless people like you to drop the ball at a critical moment. Are we beating Red Hair?" Zhou Ruoguang's men finally came back to their senses and asked weakly. "Nonsense, hurry up and do it." Zhou Ruoguang couldn't care less about Jining Jun anymore. In his eyes, Lin Yi was much more important than Jining Jun. If he didn't handle this god well, he would be in trouble. So, Zhou Ruoguang ran over respectfully. "Hayashi Lin, you're here." Zhou Ruoguang's words stunned everyone, especially Red Hair and Baldy. They looked at Zhou Ruoguang dumbfoundedly. He knew Lin Yi. And wasn't the way he addressed him a little too? Pfft. Yushu almost burst into laughter when she heard how Zhou Ruoguang addressed Lin Yi. "Ha ha ha ha, shield bro, how did you become a god?" "I don't know." Lin Yi shook his head and let go of Red Hair. Red Hair didn't dare to do anything to Lin Yi anymore. His face was full of shock. No matter how stupid he was, he could tell that Zhou Ruoguang was very respectful towards Lin Yi. He was afraid of getting beaten up, so he begged with a bitter face, "Guang bro, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I shouldn't have caused trouble, drag him away." Zhou Ruoguang was afraid that Lin Yi would be angry and didn't have time to waste with Red Hair. He waved his hand and his men dragged Red Hair away. "Hayashi Lin, I'm really sorry, there are always some blind hooligans in this place, please don't mind them." Zhou Ruoguang said carefully with a smile on his face to Lin Yi. Oh, your family owns this place. Lin Yi didn't mind. He wouldn't mind even if Zhou Ruoguang didn't come. At most, he'd just knock red hair out. Yeah, I was playing pool when I heard that you, Hayashi Lin, were here, so I came over to see if there was anything I could do for you. Zhou Ruoguang asked carefully. Oh, there's nothing else for you to do, go play. Lin Yi waved his hand, signaling Zhou Ruoguang to leave. He didn't have much to say to Zhou Ruoguang, and Meng Yao and Yushu wouldn't have a good time with him around. Chapter 828. Young Master Jun's thoughts. He didn't know Meng Yao and Yushu and Zhou Ruoming didn't mention anything about it at home, so Zhou Ruoguang didn't know who they were and thought that they were Lin Yi's friends. However, he didn't think much about it and only thought that they were just normal friends with Lin Yi. Since Lin Yi didn't talk to them intimately and Lin Yi already had a girlfriend, Zhou Ruoguang wasn't as respectful to them as he was to Tang Yun. He only greeted Lin Yi and left. Zhou bro, you know that guy. What's his background? Why are you so respectful to him? Zheningjuan's eyes stayed on Meng Yao and Yushu as he asked jealously towards Lin Yi. With his years of experience in picking up girls, he knew that these two girls were the best. One was pure and beautiful while the other was petite and cute. Although they were only wearing normal sportswear, it couldn't hide their beauty. Zhou Ruoguang was slightly older than Zhenningjun, so Zhenningjun called him Zhou bro. He's Lin Yi, he's very good at martial arts and not easy to mess with. Zhou Ruoguang felt that his words made him look weak, but he couldn't be strong in front of Lin Yi. Good at martial arts. What's the use of that? Zhenningjun said in disdain, no matter how good he is, he can't fight against many people. You don't need to give him face. Many people. Zhou Ruoguang smiled bitterly. Let's put it this way, even our golden class master, Uncle Yen, was injured by him. He's aggressive and doesn't have a future. Zhenningjun was still disdainful. Even if he can defeat golden class masters, can he beat guns? That's impossible. Zhenningjun's family was also involved in the underworld and it wasn't a small one. They were much bigger than Zhou Tiandi and they had a lot of illegal guns in their hands. To him, martial arts were all useless. In front of guns and cannons, it was nothing. Zhou Ruoguang shrugged. Since Zhenningjun didn't believe him, he couldn't say anything else. After all, the two families were only in a cooperative relationship and House Shen was the leader. It wouldn't make sense if he said too much. Those two girls aren't bad, are they his women? Zhenningjun asked eagerly. That doesn't seem to be the case. Zhou Ruoguang shook his head. Lin Yi has a girlfriend. I've seen her before. Oh, so they're just friends. Zhenningjun nodded. I like these two girls. Master Jun, it's fine if you use normal methods, but don't use force. I'm afraid that Lin Yi will interfere. Zhou Ruoguang had to remind Zhenningjun. I know, Zhenningjun, have picked up countless girls. It's just two little girls, isn't it a piece of cake? Zhenningjun didn't take Zhou Ruoguang's words seriously at all. In fact, he didn't take Lin Yi seriously at all. Meng Yao and Yushu played video games for a while and found it boring. It was either racing or shooting. There was no fun at all. It wasn't even as fun as the video game at home. Yao sis, how's it going? How many levels have you passed? Yushu used up the last token in her hand before standing up, a little dispirited. This game really sucks, it's just one person fighting and fighting, I don't know what's the point of it. I don't know. I don't think I've passed a single level. Meng Yao wasn't a good gamer. She was playing a horizontal board game. She played for a long time and was still at the first level. She used up quite a lot of her tokens. Lin Yi found it quite funny as he watched from the sidelines. This arcade was just trying to trick newbies like them out of their money, after all. Most people only needed 1 coin to cycle through, and they wouldn't even be able to afford the electricity bill, let alone make money. It's boring. Let's go to another arcade. Yushu stood up and gave up on playing. Okay. Mengyao came here with the thought of widening her horizons and gaining more experience. It didn't matter if the game was fun or not. Lin Yi didn't play and only followed behind Mengyao and Yushu. Although Lin Yi hadn't played many games before, most of them tested a person's reflexes. It wasn't a difficult task for Lin Yi. There are many people over there. Let's go check it out. Yushu noticed that one corner of the arcade was unusually crowded, with some people cheering and crying out in frustration from time to time. Lin Yi, Mengyao, and Yushu walked over and saw that it was a few gambling machines. There were many different types of machines, but all of them were related to gambling. This kind of thing was illegal, but the profits were huge. This was the main source of income for many arcades. It wasn't strange for Zhou Ruoguang to go against the law. There were people who won money here, but most of them lost more than they won. Only a small number of people won a small amount. Most people were dejected. Big sis Yao Yao, this seems to be fun. Let's go try it. Yushu felt that this was much more fun than those monster-killing games. Shoo, this looks like gambling. You can't go. Mengyao, on the other hand, understood the nature of the machine. It's just for fun. It's not like I'll get addicted to it. Yushu was curious. Let her try it. Lin Yi wasn't worried about Mengyao and Yushu's self-control. The two girls didn't have any bad habits, and they weren't addicted to anything. Lin Yi felt that Yushu was only interested in it for a while. She'd get bored after a few times. After all, they didn't lack money, and they didn't love it. It was hard for them to enjoy the excitement of winning and losing money. Oh, Shield Bro said it's okay. Yushu looked at Mengyao with puppy eyes. Then I'll take these last few tokens. You can't play anymore if you lose them. Mengyao hesitated before passing the remaining tokens to Yushu. Yushu took the tokens and happily went to play with the machines. Winning with just a few tokens wasn't realistic, and it was just as Lin Yi had predicted. Yushu put in 4 or 5 tokens, but they were all like rocks in the ocean. She only had 1 token left. Ah, that's it. Yushu looked at the last token in her hand, unhappy. At least let me win once, right? Chapter 829. To be tempted, alright, shoo, this is the last token. Don't play this anymore. Mengyao had expected this result, so she didn't show any special expression on her face. Mengyao was born in a wealthy family, and she'd heard about her uncles going to Macau to gamble. Most of them lost money and came back disappointed. She'd learned from a young age that gambling was mostly a scam. Yushu put her last token into the machine unwillingly, but it didn't end well in the slightest. The machine swallowed the token once more. Yushu was very angry at the sight of the token being spat out by someone else's machine. She kicked the machine in front of her. Bang! The machine didn't budge at all, and Yushu's ankle was hurting from the pain. What kind of trash is this? It's a scam. I'm called the unbeatable luck shoe. Why haven't I won even once? Alright, shoo, I told you that these things are scams. You don't believe me. Mengyao smiled. You lose 9 out of 10 gambles. Don't touch these things anymore. Oh. Yushu agreed with Mengyao, but she wasn't satisfied. Shield Bro, help me beat it up. Ha! Lin Yi looked at the machine with a weird expression on his face. He pointed at himself, and then at the machine. This? Yeah. Yushu nodded. Ha. Yushu's words made Lin Yi's heart skip a beat. He walked over and gave the machine a kick. The circuit inside the machine was very simple, and the machine itself was very light. Lin Yi's kick made the machine bounce on the ground, and Lin Yi's kick broke it as well. Tokens started falling out of the machine. Yushu's kick, on the other hand, couldn't compare to Lin Yi's. This is the only way to win money with this kind of thing, Lin Yi said as he pointed at the gambling machine that kept dropping game coins. This kind of thing was originally illegal, so Lin Yi didn't have any psychological burden when he destroyed it. Oh, he finally spat out the coins. Shield Bro is the best. Yushu, on the other hand, didn't really care about the coins she'd lost earlier. She was just a little pissed off, as if she'd been tricked by a scammer. Now that Lin Yi had avenged her, she couldn't help but scream happily. Lin Yi's kick scared the nearby players silly. They had never heard of anyone daring to do this in the game hall. Wasn't this courting death? You're not taking the hooligans who watch over the place seriously. However, when these people saw that it was Lin Yi, they didn't say anything. These people also saw Zhou Ruoguang's attitude towards Lin Yi before, so they didn't care about Lin Yi at this moment. The manager of the game hall heard the loud noise and quickly ran over to see the scene, but he didn't disturb Lin Yi. Instead, he ran into the billiards hall opposite and found Zhou Ruoguang, telling Zhou Ruoguang what happened here. Zhou Ruoguang heard it, but he didn't think much of it. Instead, he said happily, "Okay, I got it. It's just a gambling machine. It's good that we didn't destroy the entire entertainment city." The game hall manager heard Zhou Ruoguang's words and quickly nodded and ran back. In his heart, he was glad that he didn't interfere. It seemed that Zhou Ruoguang didn't plan to stop Lin Yi at all. As for the game coins on the ground, Yushu didn't care much. She just felt that it was good to vent her anger. As for whether the game coins on the ground could be exchanged at the bar counter, it didn't matter. Besides, she was tired of the games here and didn't plan to continue playing. There was no use for the game coins. "Yao Yao sis, let's go to the billiards hall opposite to play. What do you think?" Yushu gave up on the entertainment at the game hall because she really couldn't find anything interesting to play. Billiards hall. "Shu, you know how to play billiards?" Meng Yao asked curiously. "No, but I've seen it on TV. The players who play billiards are very cool. It should be fun, right?" Yushu just wanted to see it for herself. "Okay." Meng Yao nodded and didn't object. In the early days, the environment and the facilities in the billiards hall were very poor. The people who went there were mostly gangsters and gangsters. But as billiards became more popular, billiards slowly gained acceptance and became one of the entertainment methods of some successful people. Of course, the billiards hall in the entertainment city was still a mix of good and bad people. There were gangsters and rich young masters who came here to play. As for the successful people, they had their own clubs and didn't need to come to a public entertainment city like this. Lin Yi, Meng Yao and Yushu came to the billiards hall opposite to the game hall. Previously when Lin Yi caused such a big commotion, Zhou Ruoguang didn't do anything to him. Instead, he was very respectful towards Lin Yi. This was also seen by the gangsters who came here to play. So, those who had bad thoughts towards Meng Yao and Yushu could only put away their thoughts. No one dared to provoke Meng Yao and Yushu in case of unnecessary trouble. It wasn't worth it to be beaten up like red hair. However, there was one person who was an exception. He didn't put away his thoughts towards Meng Yao and Yushu. Instead, he was even more interested in them. This person was Zhening Jun. The more he looked at Meng Yao and Yushu, the more he felt that they were the best. This kind of quality was hard to come by. It was already hard to find one in a big school. Now that he met two at the same time, Jun felt extremely lucky. He felt that God was taking care of him and gave him two beautiful girls at once. Moreover, with Ju's sharp eyes, he noticed that Meng Yao and Yushu were probably still virgins and hadn't been touched by a man. Girls like them were the best of the best. Jun felt that if he didn't do something to them, he would be letting God down. Zhou Ruoguang also noticed Jun's infatuated gaze and frowned. To be honest, he didn't want to offend Lin Yi. He knew that Lin Yi was someone he couldn't afford to offend, and this Jun was someone he couldn't offend either. He heard that House Shen was very powerful in the Donghai region and had a famous gang with firearms. Everyone in the gang had a gun. They were real gangsters, and a gangster like Zhou Ruoguang couldn't be compared to them. Chapter 830. Billiards, of course, why? Are you still afraid of that Lin Yi? Jun said in disdain, since you're not his girlfriend, what does it have to do with him? Plus, I already know, I don't need to force it. We're in Songshan City, I'll give face to your Zhou bro. To be honest, Jun didn't put Lin Yi in his eyes at all. What Golden Division Master, Green Division Master? In the eyes of his father's firearm team, wasn't he just trash? Did he need to be so careful with someone who could be killed with one shot? Zhou Ruoguang couldn't do anything about Jun's insistence. Luckily, as long as Jun didn't force it, Lin Yi wouldn't blame him. Zhou Ruoguang could only protect himself. As for whether Jun could provoke Lin Yi, it was none of Zhou Ruoguang's business. They were just cooperating anyway. Lin Yi asked for a pool table, paid the money, and sat quietly on the side, watching Yushu and Meng Yao play. Although it was their first time playing billiards, they had also watched some billiards games on TV, so they could imitate the postures and so on. As for the rules, the two of them didn't know much. However, the two of them weren't professionals, so there was no need to play according to the rules. As long as the two of them each had a suit, then they would take turns to play. Whoever hit the ball of their suit into the hole first would be the winner. Jun looked at Meng Yao and Yushu who were playing pool, and his heart ached. He thought of a way to strike up a conversation and walked over. Two beauties, do you need a pool coach? Jun tried his best to make his smile look more sincere. He could tell from the sidelines that both Meng Yao and Yushu were noobs at billiards. It was their first time playing the game, after all. That was why he'd come up with this method. Meng Yao looked up at Jun indifferently. She was curious. Didn't he see what happened to the red hair? How dare you come over to strike up a conversation? Yushu, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. She was having fun and scored a few balls by luck. She was displeased when Jun interrupted her. She frowned and waved her hand. I'm good, I don't need you to teach me. Jun didn't give up and continued to introduce himself. I'm Jun, the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association. I've won many awards in the billiards competitions in the province. Oh. Yushu froze and looked at Jun before turning to Meng Yao. Yao sis, what did he say? He said that he's really handsome. Meng Yao was a little speechless. How could someone with such a big face say that he was handsome the first time they met? Did this guy have any shame? Handsome? He doesn't look that handsome. He's not even as handsome as Shield Bro. Yushu looked at Jun carefully and waved her hand impatiently. Hey, move away, don't get in my way. Jun was enraged. How dare these two girls ignore him? In the billiard scene in the province, how many people didn't know of Jun's name? However, he suddenly remembered that it was their first time playing billiards, so it was normal that they didn't know his name. He suppressed his anger and continued, my name is Jun, not because I'm really handsome. Oh, I see. At least you know your place. But if that's the case, why don't you change your name to Zhen Nan Nan? Yushu asked curiously. Ahem. Let's not talk about that, let's talk about billiards first. Zhening Jun was unhappy. Even if I'm not really handsome, I'm not really ugly. With my looks, I'm one of the most handsome guys out there, right? He didn't want to talk about this topic anymore and changed the topic back to billiards. Billiards shouldn't be played like this, it should be played like this. You're so annoying. Yushu was annoyed that Zhening Jun was making a fuss beside her. I'm the queen of billiards, do I need you to teach me? Stop being a nuisance. You're not good enough to teach me. How am I good enough? Zhening Jun was angered by Yushu's words. He wasn't stupid. Since Zhou Ruoguang said that Lin Yi was good, he wouldn't provoke Lin Yi openly. After all, he was alone and wasn't a match for Lin Yi. So, he maintained a normal attitude when hitting on girls. He didn't want to force himself like red hair. I'm the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association. Oh, there are many vice presidents who lost to me. Yushu really felt that Zhening Jun was a little annoying. She knew what he was thinking, but he was gentle in his approach, so Yushu couldn't do anything to him. What? Zhening Jun was infuriated by Yushu. He thought that he was very good at billiards. Although he came here to pick up girls, how could he be willing to accept someone insulting his best skill? In Donghai City's Billiards Association, he was the center of attention. Now that he was here, a beginner dared to talk to him like that. It was a huge insult. Fine, do you dare to compete with me? Zhening Jun suppressed his anger and asked Yushu. Why should I compete with you? Yushu asked back. You. Zhening Jun was speechless. Yushu's question was hard for him to answer. That's right, why did Yushu want to compete with him? Alright, don't interrupt me. Yushu didn't bother with Zhening Jun anymore. She waved her hand and continued to play with Meng Yao. Lin Yi saw all of this, but Lin Yi didn't intervene. Although Zhening Jun showed his bad intentions towards Yushu and Meng Yao, he didn't do anything over the line. So, Lin Yi didn't have to step in. Meng Yao and Yushu could deal with this kind of situation by themselves. If Lin Yi had to handle everything himself, even something as simple as this, then Meng Yao and Yushu would really be like flowers in a greenhouse, and it wouldn't be good for their growth at all. He had to leave eventually. He couldn't protect them forever, could he? Although Lin Yi had the urge to protect these two beauties for the rest of their lives, Lin Yi knew the difference between ideals and reality. Let's not talk about whether Tang Yun would agree or not. Even if Tang Yun agreed, he couldn't let her live with Miss and Yushu, right? Then, he could bring the old man over. Live happily together as a family. Live a carefree life from now on. Chapter 831. The billiards ball. However, Yushu and Mingyao's way of dealing with the problem wasn't right. Angering the enemy wasn't the way to solve the problem. Was it because he was with Yushu that he was fearless? Lin Yi always thought that Yushu wasn't an idiot. Instead, she was very smart. Yushu might have angered Zhening Jun because he was with her. 10,000 yuan for a match. Do you dare? Zhening Jun was enraged that his proudest skill was ignored. But we didn't bring that much money. We can't compete with you. Yushu said regretfully. I don't need your money. If you lose, you just have to admit that I'm good at billiards and learn from me. Zhening Jun wasn't stupid. He didn't say something stupid like sleeping with him if they lost. He thought that he had to do it step by step. Oh. Yushu thought about it and felt that it was a good deal. She turned to Meng Yao. Yao Yao sis, are we going to compete with him? Compete with what? Are you confident that you can win? Meng Yao wasn't confident that she could win against Jiningjun. Jiningjun said that he was good at billiards and he probably wasn't bragging. So, Meng Yao didn't plan to compete with him at all. I don't know. Yushu thought about it and agreed. The two of them might not be able to beat Jiningjun alone. However, they already boasted before, and if they didn't compete now, they might be afraid of Jiningjun. She raised her head and looked at Lin Yi. Shield bro, will we win? Probably. Lin Yi shrugged. Alright, we'll compete with you. But Yao Yao sis and I will compete with you. If we win, you have to give us 10,000 yuan each. Yushu heard Lin Yi's words and thought that Lin Yi was completely confident. She nodded and accepted Jiningjun's challenge. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He hadn't even finished his sentence. He wanted to say, maybe. Maybe not, but Yushu interrupted him. Sure, no problem. To Jiningjun, money wasn't a problem. How do you want to compete? Snooker. What snooker? Yushu didn't understand. It's just a way to play billiards. Jiningjun sneered in his heart. You don't even know what snooker is and you dare to compete with me. Wasn't that courting death? Oh, you want to compete with me? Naturally, you want to see how I play. Yushu, on the other hand, didn't seem to mind. Our way of playing is that we each have a different suit, and whoever loses their ball first wins. Is that so? Jiningjun thought. This was similar to billiards, but there were no rules of adding or subtracting points. But it didn't matter, he could easily win against these two girls this way. Sure, we'll play the way you want us to play. As the saying goes, an expert will know once he makes his move. Although Meng Yao and Yushu didn't like Jiningjun, he had good skills. As soon as the game started, Jiningjun scored all the balls in his suit without any suspense. Meng Yao and Yushu only scored one ball, and it was by luck. How is it? Jiningjun didn't think that he would win so easily. These two were obviously rookies. They didn't have any skills at all and were just playing randomly. It's always best of 3, you only won one, what's there to be proud of? Yushu was dumbfounded. Didn't Shield Bro say that she could win? How did she lose? He couldn't help but turn to Lin Yi anxiously. Sure, best of 3 then. Jiningjun didn't mind. With Meng Yao and Yushu's skills, they would definitely lose even if they played 100 rounds. He didn't care if he won 1 or 2 rounds. He felt that he had the victory in his hands and he wanted these two girls to accept their defeat wholeheartedly. For the next round, I will play 1 round and you two can play 1 round each. As long as the two of you hit your suit into the bag, it'll be your victory. After winning 1 round, Jiningjun knew Meng Yao and Yushu's true skills, so he didn't mind bragging. Okay. Yushu didn't have much confidence this time. She hoped that Lin Yi could help her turn the tables, but Lin Yi didn't appear in the end, so she lost without a doubt. Lin Yi had no choice but to walk over and place his hands on the table. What are you doing? Jiningjun didn't think that Lin Yi would suddenly intervene. He had always been a gentleman and didn't use force, so why did Lin Yi want to interfere? Nothing, I'm just here to watch, Lin Yi said indifferently. What? Can't I watch you guys play? I want to see if you cheated. Sure. Go ahead, watch as you like. Jiningjun heard that Lin Yi only wanted to watch and Lin Yi said that he wanted to see if he cheated, so Jiningjun ignored Lin Yi. What could he see? Moreover, if he chased him away, it would look like he cheated. Before, Jiningjun thought that Lin Yi wanted to replace Meng Yao or Yushu and he wouldn't agree because he didn't know how good Lin Yi was. Who knew if he was a master of pool or not? How could he let Lin Yi ruin the beauty he was about to get? However, Lin Yi didn't want to interfere and Jiningjun didn't care anymore. He said to Meng Yao and Yushu, "You guys can start first, I'll give you 3 shots." Normally, a master of pool could hit a ball into the pocket at the start, but Meng Yao and Yushu obviously couldn't as they didn't have the skills yet. So, they couldn't gain any advantage at the start. However, Jun already said that he would give Meng Yao and Yushu 3 shots. That way, each of them would get 3 shots and it would be 6 shots. It was a lot and it showed how arrogant Jun was. Bang! Yushu kicked the ball off, sending it flying all over the table, but not a single ball went into the pocket. Then, it was Meng Yao's turn. She also aimed at a ball of her own color and hit it, but due to the problem of accuracy and strength, the distance between the ball and the pocket was very far away. Chapter 832. Once I do, you're done. However, although Jun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were confused, the cue ball that Yushu's cue ball hit didn't show any signs of stopping. It was as if it had a motor installed on it as it continued to spin on the table. Although the ball didn't go into the hole, it knocked the other balls into the hole. Some of them were Yushu's and some were Jun's. Yushu and Jun didn't know what was going on. Jun had played billiards for so many years and he had never seen something like this. How was this a billiards ball? It was a bouncy ball. No matter how strong the player was, it was impossible to achieve such an effect, wasn't it? Meng Yao, too, was a little surprised as she looked at the disobedient ball on the table. She then looked up at Yushu, noticing the excitement on Yushu's face as well. Meng Yao understood that this wasn't Shu's doing at all, they'd been sisters for years, and Meng Yao could tell what Yushu was thinking just by looking at their expressions. She couldn't see through them completely, but she could at least tell what they were thinking on the surface. She turned back to Lin Yi and saw Lin Yi's bitter smile. Meng Yao was slightly taken aback and her heart skipped a beat. Could it be Lin Yi's doing? Shu had been playing for so long and she didn't manage to hit a bouncy ball like this. Did Lin Yi do it as soon as he came? Meng Yao's face fell into deep thought at the thought of this. Meng Yao was right, it was Lin Yi's doing. Lin Yi didn't have much confidence in helping Meng Yao and Yushu win. He was just experimenting. The first thing that came to Lin Yi's mind was the strange, pure qi in his body, the energy that Zhao Lao mentioned. Since this energy was omnipotent, could it be transferred to the pool bowl? According to the law of conservation of energy, energy couldn't be created out of thin air, nor would it disappear out of thin air. It could only be changed from one form to another or transferred from one object to another. In the process of transformation or transfer, the total amount of energy remained the same. In other words, the energy in Lin Yi's body could be converted into the energy needed by the pool ball. Of course, the energy in Lin Yi's body wouldn't be created out of thin air. No master's pure qi would be created out of thin air. Their vital energy came from the natural world's spiritual qi, and the mantra they cultivated was a method to convert the spiritual qi into their own vital energy. They completed the process of converting the energy in nature into energy in their body. Lin Yi's energy, on the other hand, came entirely from the jade space. Lin Yi converted the energy in the jade space into his own energy. And so, after Yushu had moved the ball, Lin Yi decided to try and see if his energy could be used on the ball. With both hands on the table, he started channeling the art of dragon mastery, and as if it had been injected with chicken blood, the ball suddenly exploded with a small universe of energy. It worked. However, it was Lin Yi's first time doing this, and he didn't control the amount of energy he sent out. In just an instant, the amount of energy was over. How much energy could a small pool ball use up? Just a little bit was enough. If Lin Yi used too much, the pool ball would move endlessly. However, although the experiment was a failure, Lin Yi had proven that it was possible. What was even more surprising was that his energy would only be used on objects that were currently consuming energy. The other stationary billiard balls and billiard tables on the billiard table would not absorb energy. The other pool balls that were moved by the elastic ball didn't absorb any energy because Lin Yi stopped the chant a long time ago. Therefore, the energy was only used on this pool ball. Oh my god, I'm so awesome. I can even hit this kind of ball. I'm such a genius. Yushu exclaimed after the shock, I'm a genius, Shu, I'm so good at everything. Impossible. How is this possible? This doesn't make sense. Is there something wrong with the ball? Jiningjun didn't believe that Yushu could hit the ball like this. Even professional pool players wouldn't be able to hit an elastic ball like this. It was unbelievable. You haven't seen it before, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Yushu looked at Jiningjun in disdain. I already said that it's easy for me to defeat you. I let you win the last round, but this time, you're dead. If you're not convinced, you can hit a ball like this for everyone to see. Yushu's amazing ball attracted most of the players in the billiard room. They had never seen such a powerful ball before. It bounced back and forth on the table for more than a minute and showed no signs of stopping. As everyone exclaimed in shock, they also felt that it was unbelievable. The person who could hit such a ball was definitely a master among masters. Jiningjun's face turned green from anger, but he couldn't refute her because he really couldn't hit such a ball. Jiningjun curled his lips and said unhappily, it's just luck, why don't you hit another one for me? Why should I hit another one? If I hit a ball like this, all the balls that belong to you will be in your pocket. Am I not helping you? Yushu wasn't sure if she could hit another ball like this. She seemed confident, but she was just making things up. She was also guessing if Shield Bro was helping her, so she wouldn't be too sure. If I hit another one, I'll win and you have to admit defeat. That's more like it. Although Jiningjun didn't believe that Yushu could hit another ball like this, he didn't dare to make a promise. What if Yushu hit another one? Wouldn't he have to admit defeat then? Seeing everyone watching, Zhou Ruoguang also wanted to go over and see what was going on, but he backed off after one look. Holy shit, you can play billiards like this. He had been running this entertainment center for many years and was a master of billiards, but he had never seen a ball like this. This wasn't billiards at all, it was a miracle. This could only happen if Hayashi Lin was here. He and his father had been living under Lin Yi's shadow and thought that Lin Yi was omnipotent. Therefore, Zhou Ruoguang felt that it was normal for something like this to happen. Chapter 833. She hit the ball away. As a result, Yushu was very excited. She had the upper hand now. After Yushu was done, it was Mingyao's turn. Lin Yi controlled the amount of energy he used, and other than using a little more strength, there was nothing wrong with Mingyao's shot. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. It was easier to use the energy. It was Yushu's turn again, but the previous situation didn't happen again. It was still an ordinary shot, which made Jiningjun heave a sigh of relief. It seemed like Yushu hit it out of sheer luck. Otherwise, she would probably hit it again. It was finally Jiningjun's turn. Jiningjun was delighted. Judging from the situation on the table, he would definitely win in one shot. With his skills, this was a piece of cake. Jiningjun calmly found his first target. He bent down and pushed the cue out elegantly. The moment Jiningjun's cue hit the cue ball, Lin Yi transferred his energy over. In the end, Jiningjun's cue ball flew out from the table like a rocket. He hit a beautiful jump ball. Before the crowd could react, the cue ball smashed into the face of a bystander. Blood gushed out from his nose and two of his front teeth fell out. The man groaned in pain and widened his eyes as he pointed at Jiningjun. You motherfucker, don't you have eyes? Where are you hitting? You even knocked my front teeth loose. I'm sorry. Although Jun was usually arrogant, he knew that he was in Songshan and it wasn't his territory, Donghai. It wasn't wise to cause trouble here. Moreover, he was hitting on girls in a civilized manner and he couldn't be too violent. He took out his wallet apologetically and took out 3,000 yuan to give to the man. This is your medical fee, consider it my compensation to you. The man was also jobless. He didn't have a job and his eyes lit up when he saw the 3,000 yuan. He took Jun money and stopped complaining. He covered his mouth and stood on the side. Jun didn't have time to waste with these people. His main goal was to defeat Yushu and Mengyao and prove that he could teach them, so he spent the money to avoid trouble. How unlucky! Jun thought to himself. He was too impatient and accidentally used too much strength, resulting in a jump ball. However, this jump ball wasn't something an ordinary person could hit. He had accidentally hit one, and it was still very awesome. It seemed like he was too careless and didn't control his strength properly, causing this situation. He had to be more serious next time. Alright, it's my turn. Yushu waited for Jun to make a fool out of himself before putting another cue ball on the table, ready to start. Yushu aimed at a ball and hit it. One had to admit, however, that Yushu's angle was pretty good. The cue ball bumped into one of Yushu's balls and pushed it out. It looked like it was about to enter a pocket, but it didn't have enough strength. The ball lost its momentum when it reached the edge of the pocket. Go! 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 Yushu panicked. The ball was moving slower and slower and was about to stop at the edge of the pocket. Lin Yi smiled and injected some energy into the ball. Then, the ball that was about to stop suddenly shot into the pocket as if it was stimulated. Ha! Jun was proud and was ready to teach Yushu about the strength needed to hit the ball. Looking at the ball in front of him, it would fall into the pocket if she used a little more strength. However, Yushu's strength wasn't good enough, which caused the current situation. However, Jun didn't expect Yushu's ball to suddenly run into the pocket before it stopped. What was going on? Did someone do something to it? But that couldn't be. There were so many people gathered around the table, and if Yushu were to do something, the others would have noticed it. Even if the others couldn't, he'd been staring at the ball the whole time. How could he not notice? Wahahaha. Yushu danced happily when she saw the ball fall into the pocket. I told you I'm the goddess of pool, Shu. Look, it's a waste of strength if I use more or less strength if I use less. It's perfect now, no more, no less. Mengyao felt that something was wrong. Jun was a master of pool, how could he suddenly hit such an unimaginable ball? He even beat up the spectators who were watching from the side. Yushu's ball was about to stop, but it suddenly moved again and ran into the pocket. Mengyao couldn't help but suspect that it was Lin Yi's doing. Although she didn't know how Lin Yi did it, she knew how amazing Lin Yi was. Your ball is actually quite dangerous. Jun could only say this, it was a little dangerous, you should use more strength next time. More strength? Like you, hitting someone's face. Yushu glanced at Jun and asked back. Ha! Jun's face turned red as Yushu mocked him. He gritted his teeth, humphed and didn't say anything else. It was Mingyao's turn, and she did it casually. It was her first time playing pool, after all, and she didn't have any skills at all. She knew that Lin Yi was helping her, so she knew that he'd make a move at the right time. Mingyao's ball, on the other hand, had no chance of going into the hole, but it did bump into another ball in the middle of its motion, and this ball happened to be of the same color as Mingyao's. Judging from the trajectory of the ball, Lin Yi believed that it could go into the hole, and so he injected some energy into the first ball after it stopped. The second ball was about the same as Yushu's, and it was about to run out of energy, but it kept moving until it went into the pocket. Chapter 834. Chapter 834. Genius Shu. The billiards room was opened by Zhou Ruoguang, and Meng Yao and Yushu were just guests. It was impossible for the table to be the problem. Cold sweat appeared on Zheningjuan's face as he thought about this. He was a superstitious person, and when he saw such an unbelievable scene, he subconsciously thought that there was something unclean behind this. Was there something unclean that was causing trouble? Meng Yao was a little doubtful as well. She couldn't quite believe that she'd hit the ball herself. She turned her eyes from the table to Lin Yi's face, trying to figure out what was going on, but Lin Yi was still as calm and unruffled as ever. Both his hands were on the table, as if he hadn't done anything at all. However, although Lin Yi didn't seem suspicious on the surface, Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi was actually very suspicious. Yay! Yao Yao sis is amazing too. You're on par with me, Genius Shu. Yushu shouted excitedly. Zheningjuan's face darkened. He didn't believe it. As the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association, how could he lose to two beginners? Seeing that there were only 3 balls left on Meng Yao's side, Zheningjun couldn't help but panic. He couldn't let Meng Yao and Yushu score again. Luckily, they set a rule that each person played 1 shot and there was no such thing as consecutive shots. No matter if they scored or not, they wouldn't hit consecutively. It was Zheningjuan's turn. This time, he didn't dare to be careless. He didn't think much of it before and hit a jump ball. He remembered that he didn't use much strength. Could it be that he was absent-minded? This time, Zheningjun carefully used his normal strength to hit the cue ball. However, the cue ball flew out again with a whoosh. It turned into a jump ball and smashed towards the person on the opposite side. Bang! This time, it didn't hit anyone's face but a muscular man's chest. The muscular man yelped in pain and clutched his chest. He pointed at Zheningjun furiously. You little bastard, do you even know how to play basketball? Did you do it on purpose? You hit someone else and now you want to hit me. Do you have eyes? Zheningjun was dumbfounded. When did he become so strong? It was just a normal shot. How did it become a jump ball? Fly out and hit someone else again. But he really didn't use much strength. Zheningjun didn't know what happened. He felt like he didn't use much strength. What happened? What? You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it. You're not going to say anything. The muscular man said. Zheningjun glanced at the muscular man and thought, if you're like this, I'll find someone to kill you in Donghai City. How dare you act so arrogantly in front of me? But this was Songshan, and he didn't want to cause trouble. He frowned and cursed his bad luck. He took out his wallet and counted out another 3,000 kwai, handing it to the muscular man. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. This is the medical fee. That's more like it. The muscular man wanted money as well. He was thick-skinned and his injuries were much lighter than the guy who got hit in the face. There were only some bruises and it wasn't a problem at all. But he saw that Zheningjun already spent money to get out of trouble. How could he let go of this chance to extort money from him? Okay, it's my turn again. Yushu excitedly took another cue ball and placed it on the table. You're really good. You can hit such a difficult ball twice in a row. Amazing. It's all right. Zheningjun said unhappily, you can't even hit it when I asked you to. I won't even if I can. If I hit someone else, I have to pay for it. Yushu pouted and looked at Zheningjun in disdain. If you can hit it, I'll pay for it if you hurt someone else. Jun didn't believe that Yushu could hit a jump ball. That was simply impossible. Really? If I hit someone, you'll pay? Yushu asked. Yes, it's a jump ball. It's impossible to hit it without years of billiards experience. In order to save his face, Jun could only say that his mistake was a professional skill. Okay, since it's a jump ball, I can't hit anything else. If I hit a jump ball, you have to pay for it. Yushu said, how about it? Sure. No problem, as long as you hit a jump ball, I'll pay for it. Jun didn't believe that Yushu could hit a jump ball at all, but what if you can't hit it? Then I'll take out one of my balls. Yushu thought about it and said. She wasn't afraid that she couldn't hit a jump ball because she didn't believe that Jun hit the 2 jump balls himself. To her, it must be Shield Bro's doing. If he could hit it, she could do it too. So, she didn't mind making a bet with Jun. Okay, it's a deal. Go ahead. Jun was pleased with himself. You can't hit a jump ball even if you die of exhaustion. I'm a kind person and I can't bear to hit an innocent person. How about this, I aim at you. Yushu aimed the cue ball at Jun's direction. Humph, whatever you want. It's better if you hit me, you don't have to pay for it. Jun said indifferently. How could he believe that Yushu could hit him? Unless she threw it with her hands, it was impossible to hit it with a cue stick. Yushu didn't say anything else and aimed at Jun. She hit the cue ball. With a whoosh, the cue ball flew up again and smashed towards Jun's face. Jun didn't expect Yushu to hit a jump ball, so he didn't dodge. When he realized something was wrong, it was already too late. The cue ball hit his head with a loud bang, smashing a door on his head. He was so dizzy that he almost fell down. Ah! Jun screamed, impossible. Impossible. This isn't real. You can't hit a jump ball. All the onlookers burst into laughter. Jun was too dumb, wasn't he? If you can hit it, why can't others do it? What's wrong with you? You finally tasted the consequences of your arrogance. A big bump appeared on his head. This person really deserved it. Chapter 835. Young Master Jun regrets. Oh, I hit it. I won, right? Alright, I've scored a goal. Yushu didn't think that she'd actually be able to hit a jump ball either. She was just giving it a try. Whether she succeeded or not depended on Shield Bro's strength. But now, it seemed like Shield Bro was really good. With that, Yushu picked up a pool ball of her own design and tossed it into the bag. Jun took a deep breath. He wasn't willing to give up, but he couldn't do anything about it. He had boasted before, but he couldn't say that he was unlucky and Yushu won the game. Okay, it's my turn now. Jun took a deep breath. This time, he couldn't make any mistakes, otherwise, he would really lose this game. Yushu only had 2 balls left in her suit. If it was any other time, Jun wouldn't take it seriously. They were just beginners and he could win no matter what. But it was different now. The game was a little strange. Previously, he had hit 2 jump balls. Logically speaking, he did not use much strength. Could it be that the cue ball was too light? Jun couldn't figure it out, but since he couldn't figure it out, he decided to use less strength this time. Jun aimed at a ball of his color and hit the cue ball. Lin Yi also felt that Jun used less strength, so Lin Yi used less energy. This time, Jun's cue ball didn't fly out of the table, but it still skipped over his target ball and flew into the pocket. Ha! Jun was speechless. This time, He purposely used less strength, but he still hit a jump ball. But this time, he didn't hurt anyone and hit his cue ball into the pocket. At least he didn't need to lose money and get scolded. However, Zheningjuan's face didn't look too good. He made a fool of himself again. Wow, you're so cool. You actually hit your own ball into the pocket. Are you colorblind? Yushu looked at Zheningjuan in surprise. Humph. I just didn't control my strength well. It won't happen next time. Zheningjuan humphed coldly. He didn't want to argue with Yushu. The more he tried, the more guilty he would seem. Zheningjuan wanted to prove it to Yushu with his strength. There was no penalty when playing with Yushu. No matter if he hit the cue ball into the pocket or hit it into the pocket, there wouldn't be a penalty, so it was Yushu's turn. Yushu, too, realized that Shield Bro couldn't change the trajectory of the balls, only the strength of the balls. She wasn't confident that she'd be able to aim at the pocket with the two balls on her side, so she decided to throw the cue ball a certain distance away so that she could aim at the other two balls. Lin Yi saw that Yushu didn't aim at his ball, so he hit the cue ball into the other two balls. Lin Yi to Yushu, Lin Yi, Yushu, Lin Yi, Yushu. Lin Yi, from the current angle, Meng Yao could easily hit the ball in front of the cue ball into the pocket as long as she aimed. Meng Yao already guessed that Lin Yi was helping her and it seemed like Shu knew it too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have hit the cue ball into the pocket. Without Lin Yi's help, Yushu wouldn't be able to control her strength so well and stop the cue ball at the required position. Even without Lin Yi's help, Meng Yao could easily hit one of her balls into the pocket. After Meng Yao, it was Zheningjuan's turn. Zheningjuan was a little nervous. His opponent only had one ball left, but he still had a few balls on his side. This time, Zheningjuan didn't dare to use too much strength. After he aimed at his ball, he used a smaller amount of strength to hit the cue ball out. However, it was still a jump ball this time. Zheningjuan was going crazy. How was this possible? Why was every ball he hit a jump ball? The cue ball jumped up and with a bang, it hit the ball that Zheningjuan was aiming at. The ball spun a few times before stopping. This time, Zheningjuan did hit the ball he was aiming at, but because of the wrong direction, the ball didn't hit the pocket at all. What the fuck, this is weird. Zheningjuan cursed. He couldn't believe it. Did his strength suddenly increase by leaps and bounds? He didn't have much strength, but why did he hit the ball with so much strength? What was going on? Meng Yao and Yushu only had one ball left. Yushu used her old strategy and hit the cue ball to a position that was convenient for Meng Yao to aim at and let Meng Yao hit it. This time, Meng Yao used less strength because she was nervous. However, with Lin Yi's energy replenishment, the last ball fell into the pocket smoothly. Meng Yao obviously felt that she didn't use enough strength, but the ball seemed to have enough strength and ran into the pocket on its own. Meng Yao thought that it was Lin Yi's trick again. Oh, you won, right? See? You call yourself a professional player and you want to teach us how to play. Look at yourself. Yushu looked at Zheningjuan proudly. You think you're so great just because you can hit a few jump balls? Not only can I hit jump balls, I can also hit bouncy balls. Isn't there another round? We won once each, it's just a tie now. How could Zheningjuan admit defeat? He felt that he didn't perform well in the second round and it wasn't Yushu's skill at all. Fine, let's have another round then. I'll make you admit defeat. With Lin Yi's help, Yushu wasn't afraid of losing at all. Are you going to let us have 3 balls again? No, I underestimated you before, I can't let you have 3 balls again. Zheningjuan didn't dare to let Yushu have 3 balls again. Yushu looked like a beginner, but her luck was surprisingly good. He was afraid that Yushu would score a few more goals by accident. Not only can you not give the ball away, but you can only play one of you, not both of you. Lin Yi said. Chapter 836. A small universe explosion. You want to go back on your word? Yushu looked at Jun and asked. I'm not going back on my word. I was just being humble before, but the third round is the deciding round, so I can't be humble anymore. Jun argued. Ha! The crowd burst into laughter. Wasn't he going back on his word? Jun thought that Jun was a beginner, so he lied. Now that he saw that Jun was good, he didn't want to be humble anymore. He was obviously going back on his word. Why wasn't he? Jun's face turned red from the laughter, but for the sake of his reputation, he didn't care if they laughed at him. Otherwise, as the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association, he would be humiliated to death if he was defeated by two unknown beginners. If the news got out, he would be laughed at by everyone he knew. So, it was only a small humiliation today, but it was better than a big one. Mengyao and Yushu were also a little angry. This person obviously saw through their plan, and it was impossible for one person to move the cue ball and one person to play. Oh, since you changed the rules, I'll change it too. Otherwise, it won't be fair. Yushu rolled her eyes and thought of a good idea. What rules do you want to change? Jun asked. This time, we don't care about the suit. Whoever hits more balls into the pocket wins. What do you think? Yushu said. Sure, are you sure you agree with what I said before? Jun froze. What's the point of Yushu's change? Even if he didn't allow Yushu to move the cue ball and Mengyao continued to play with no suit, it would only make it easier for them to find the target. It didn't matter, right? However, Jun thought that Yushu's suggestion was the next best thing. They didn't need to move the cue ball to find their suit, they could just play directly. But did she really think that they could get the ball into the pocket? Agreed. Who's going first? Yushu nodded in agreement. I'll go first. I've let you guys win 2 rounds, it's time for me to start. Jun stood up and got ready to start. The crowd looked down on Jun even more. He arrogantly gave the ball to Jun because he thought that Jun was a beginner and was easy to bully. Now that he realized that Jun was strong, he didn't give the ball to him anymore. What a shameless person. Since Jun used too much strength in the previous 2 shots, he decided to use less strength this time as long as he didn't hit a jump ball. It was more advantageous for him now as he could hit a pool ball at the start of the game. Jun reduced the strength he used before and hit the ball out. He thought that it should be normal with the strength he used this time, right? The result was within Jun's expectations. The cue ball didn't fly out and it wasn't a jump ball this time either. However, the cue ball only moved a small distance forward before it stopped. Ha! Jun was dumbfounded. What happened? Why did the cue ball stop moving? Could it be that he had used too little strength this time? Impossible, it was just a little bit smaller than before, why was there such a huge difference? He hit a jump ball before and the cue ball only moved a few centimeters forward this time. Jun rubbed his eyes to check if he was hallucinating. However, he wasn't. Lin Yi didn't help him this time and didn't give him extra energy. He only used his original strength. With his strength, he could only hit the cue ball this far. Ha 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 ha. Yushu burst into laughter. She pointed at the cue ball and laughed until her stomach hurt. I let you go first, why are you acting like I didn't even hit it? I just missed. Jun's face turned red but he didn't know what happened. Missed? Yushu obviously didn't believe Jun's explanation but she didn't say anything. She stood beside the billiard table and said to Jun, "Okay, I'm going to finish it in one shot." Finish it in one shot. Jun froze. How was that possible? He quickly asked, "Isn't there a rule for consecutive shots?" "I didn't say that I'm going to finish it in one shot. If I hit an elastic ball, wouldn't I finish it in one shot?" Yushu looked at Jun as if she was looking at an idiot. Jun was dumbfounded. He finally understood what Yushu meant when she said there was no difference in colors. She wanted to hit another elastic ball. Since the elastic ball was too unbelievable, Jun never thought that Yushu would be able to do it again. When Yushu said that she wanted to change the rules, he didn't think about it. Now, he finally understood what Yushu wanted to do. However, could she really hit another elastic ball? Jun didn't believe it. After all, the elastic ball was beyond the scope of billiard knowledge. It was possible for Yushu to hit a jump ball, but even a world-class professional billiard player might not be able to hit an elastic ball. "You can hit another elastic ball?" Jun asked in disbelief. "I don't know if I can or not, but I guess I can try." Yushu blinked her eyes and raised her hands. "Shield bro, please give me strength." Meng Yao couldn't hold back her laughter, and Lin Yi was speechless as well. Fortunately for them, they didn't know what Yushu was talking about. They thought that she was chanting some sort of encouragement, since they all knew that some athletes would yell out some sort of incomprehensible chant before they made a move. Weightlifters, for example, would yell out some sort of encouragement right before they lifted the barbell. Yushu hit the cue ball, but the cue ball was nothing out of the ordinary, stopping after hitting a random billiard ball. Just when everyone thought that Yushu wouldn't be able to hit the bouncy ball again and Jun heaved a sigh of relief, the ball that was hit by the cue ball exploded like a mini-universe. It was suddenly filled with energy and quickly collided on the table. The elastic ball was born again. Chapter 837. Can only admit defeat. The situation on the table was that not only was the ball hit by Yushu a bouncy ball, but all the balls that were hit by the bouncy ball turned into bouncy balls as well. They bounced back and forth on the table until they fell into the pocket. This was also why Lin Yi was afraid that there was only one bouncy ball. What if he accidentally fell into the pocket? Therefore, he kept injecting energy into the table so that all the moving balls could continue to move until they fell into the pocket and were forced to stop. For a moment, all the billiard balls on the billiard table fell into a state of frenzy. It was like a pinball game in a video game. Everyone present was taken aback. Impossible. This is impossible. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow the law of conservation of energy. Although Jun was arrogant, he wasn't an idiot. On the contrary, he knew a lot of things and wasn't an idiot young master. The situation in front of him was too unbelievable and he couldn't help but roar, "Everyone look, is this possible? Do you think this makes sense?" However, after Jun finished his words, the audience looked at him as if he was an idiot. What did he mean by possible? It happened right in front of your eyes and you're still asking if it's possible. Are you lying with your eyes open? How is it possible? Seeing is believing. Are you blind? The hoodlum who got his teeth smashed said unhappily. He got the same compensation as the hoodlum who got his chest smashed. He was unhappy, so he purposely made things difficult for Jun. That's right, there are all kinds of strange things in the world. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's impossible. He can hit a bouncy ball. Are you convinced? Another person chimed in. Isn't that right? Just because you can't doesn't mean others can't. What a frog at the bottom of a well. Someone spoke up, and more people chimed in. You. Jun almost fainted from anger. Wah. I'm so mad. What do you know? You're all illiterate, these balls don't exist. Don't exist. Being called illiterate, the audience was immediately unhappy. I think you're already having mental hallucinations, right? The truth is right in front of your eyes, but you insist that it doesn't exist. Sigh, you've become a fool at such a young age. What a pity. Jun watched as the balls on the table decreased, but there was nothing he could do. Although he didn't know what was going on, he couldn't find any loopholes. After all, no one touched the balls on the table. Even if someone did, Jun didn't think that this person could control every ball and make them move continuously. Who? Jun let out a long breath. He knew that he would be embarrassing himself if he stayed in the billiards hall any longer. He would definitely lose this round and there was no chance for him to make a comeback. He hadn't even hit the ball yet and all the balls on the table were going to turn into bouncy balls. He would definitely lose if he waited any longer. So, Jun admitted defeat right away. I lost, it's just 20,000 yuan. I'll give it to you. Jun was also happy. If he reneged now, it would damage his reputation. If these people spread the news that the vice president of Donghai City's Billiards Association reneged after losing, he wouldn't be able to face anyone anymore. Jun opened his wallet and realized that he didn't have enough money. He turned to Zhou Ruoguang who wasn't far behind him and said, Zhou bro, lend me 20,000 yuan first, I'll give it back to you later. Zhou Ruoguang didn't dare to disobey and quickly took out 20,000 yuan from the bar counter and passed it to Jun, Master Jun. Here, Jun took the money and passed it to Yushu. Here's the money, I lost. But don't let me find out that you cheated, or else, humph. Although Jun didn't say his threat out loud, he was already furious. He didn't plan to let Meng Yao and Yushu go so easily, but he couldn't say it out loud in public, so he had to do it secretly. After giving the money, Jun didn't have the face to stay in the billiards hall any longer. Seeing everyone's mocking expression, Jun was enraged. He quickly walked to the counter and took out a bottle of drink from the fridge. He opened it and gulped it down, calming his anger down a little. He didn't pay after he finished the drink and left the entertainment center through the side door of the billiards hall. He felt wronged and wanted to go out for some fresh air. He would feel uncomfortable if he stayed any longer. Since he lost face, he didn't ask Zhou Ruoguang to accompany him and left the billiards hall alone. Yushu didn't really care about the 20,000 kuai. She wouldn't have ignored the coins that were spat out by the arcade if she cared about the money. She only cared about the excitement of winning the tournament. I didn't think that I, Genius Shu, could be so good at everything. Yushu stuffed the 20,000 yuan into Lin Yi's hands. I'm done. It's boring, it's nothing to me. I'm hungry, let's go home and eat. Ha! Lin Yi took the money and followed Yushu and Miss to the side door of the billiards hall. If they left from the side door, they could leave the entertainment center directly and didn't have to go through the arcade again. Genius Shu. Isn't it all because of Lin Yi? Meng Yao didn't know how Lin Yi did it, but she knew that it had to be Lin Yi's doing. There was no doubt about it. Oh, I know. Shield Bro is by my side and after he gave me strength, I'm Genius Shu. Yushu said nonchalantly. Meng Yao was speechless. Why did she feel that Yushu was even more arrogant than Jun? Was she really Genius Shu? Jun walked out of the billiards hall and bumped into an old lady who was scavenging for scraps. The old lady was disabled due to a stroke. Not only was her mouth crooked, but one of her legs wasn't very nimble either. She was struggling to pick up mineral water bottles and cans from a woven silk bag. Young man, can you give me your bottle? The old lady saw Jun walk out of the billiards hall with an empty bottle in his hand and walked up to him to ask. Under normal circumstances, everyone would give their empty bottles to her. After all, it was troublesome to look for trash cans, so she might as well do a good deed. Chapter 838. Chapter 838, Shu the Prophet. How could the old lady be Jinningjuan's opponent? She was already old and didn't have much strength. Coupled with the fact that she was partially paralyzed, she loosened her grip and the woven bag flew out. The bottles and jars inside fell all over the ground. "Ah, dash!" the old lady screamed and looked at Jinningjuan in fear, but she didn't dare to retort. She thought she met a hooligan. After all, she met unreasonable people like him before. The old lady could only swallow her anger and looked at Jinningjuan sadly. She lowered her head and stumbled to pick up the bottles on the ground. "Fuck, I'm so unlucky." Jinningjuan casually threw his bottle in front of the old lady and said fiercely, "Here. Trash picker." Meng Yao, Yushu and Lin Yi just walked out of the billiard hall and saw this scene from afar. Miss frowned and felt that Jinningjuan was evil. How could he treat a weak old lady like this? However, before Miss said anything, Yushu objected first. "Hey, how can you be so mean? Do you have any sense of civility? How can you treat the old lady like this? Can't you see that her legs are not good and she's handicapped? It's none of your business." Jinningjuan was even angrier. Why did this girl care so much? What did it have to do with her when he kicked the old lady? Won't you become old one day? Can you guarantee that you won't be handicapped in the future? If you're handicapped and others treat you like this, will you feel good? Yushu scoffed. It was only then that Lin Yi realized that Yushu had a warm-hearted side to her. Both she and the miss were good people. "Humph, my family is rich. Why would I come out to pick up trash? Plus, I'm so healthy, how can I become handicapped? It's unreasonable." Jinningjuan said in disdain. "There are many unreasonable things. Have you seen an elastic ball before today? Nothing is impossible in front of me, the invincible beauty Shu." Yushu blinked. "Who knows, maybe you'll become like that old granny, and the old granny's illness will be transferred to you. Right, shield bro? Psycho." How could Jinningjuan believe Yushu's nonsense? With a cold snort, he turned around and was about to leave. "Wait, why is your back dirty?" Lin Yi walked over and casually patted Jinningjuan's shoulder. Under the sunlight, a dazzling light flashed across Lin Yi's hand. It was the effect caused by the reflection of the silver needle under the sun. "What do you mean?" Jinningjuan froze. "What do you want?" "It's nothing. I saw wrongly. It's this old granny who is dirty." Lin Yi didn't bother with him anymore. He turned around and walked to the old man's side. He casually poked the needle a few times on the old man's body before withdrawing it. It happened in an instant and Jinningjuan didn't think much of it, but Meng Yao and Yushu were stunned. They saw the silver needle in Lin Yi's hand. Yushu said that because she remembered that Lin Yi was a doctor and wanted to see if Lin Yi had a way to punish Jinningjuan. She thought that since Lin Yi could cure General Wei Wu, he must have a way to punish Jinningjuan. Psycho. Jinningjuan complained and suddenly realized that his mouth was crooked. What was going on? Jinningjuan touched his mouth in fear, but he realized that the corner of his mouth was curled to the side. He couldn't control it because he couldn't feel anything at all. It was as if his mouth wasn't his own. "What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?" Jinningjuan yelled in a muffled voice. Because the corner of his mouth was crooked, his words were unclear. On the other hand, the old granny suddenly realized that her leg seemed to have recovered and wasn't lame anymore. She was shocked. "My leg, how did my leg suddenly recover?" However, as soon as she opened her mouth to speak, she realized that her mouth wasn't crooked anymore and her speech became normal and fluent. What was going on? Jun was also stunned by the old granny's change. He wanted to walk a few steps to see what was going on, but as soon as he moved his leg, he suddenly realized that one of his legs didn't listen to him anymore. He limped and almost fell to the ground. My leg, why can't my leg work? What's going on? Jun screamed in fear. Meng Yao and Yushu were shocked as well. They didn't expect that Lin Yi could cure the old granny in such a short period of time and apply the same condition to Jun. Yushu was surprised. She was just joking and didn't expect Lin Yi to be so magical and actually do it. Yushu was overjoyed. Shield Bro was so nice to her. If this continued, she would become Fairy Shu and do whatever she wanted. Ha! Look at how accurate my words are. People call me Prophet Shu. Look, I told you that you could understand the old granny's feelings if you were disabled, but you didn't believe me. Are you alright now? The old granny's illness has metastasized. Wahahaha. Yushu pointed at Jun and laughed excitedly, which Angel Bro showed up. This is great. Jun was shocked at first, but after hearing Yushu's words, he looked at the old granny again. The old granny was no different from a normal person now, and his symptoms were exactly the same as the old granny's. What was going on? Was he really being punished by the heavens? Thinking back to the unbelievable things that happened today, Jun looked at Yushu in shock. Was this person even human? Was she a deity who came down to the mortal world to punish him? Otherwise, why would everything related to her become unreasonable and couldn't be explained with common sense? The illness metastasized. This didn't conform to modern science. It was possible that it was an infectious disease, but how could the old granny's disability be contagious? Jun's heart was filled with horror. You! What did you do to me? Jun looked at Yushu in fear. He was a superstitious person, and once such a thought formed in his heart, it became more and more unbelievable. Chapter 839. Cure and cure, no need, no need. Jun was truly afraid of Yushu now. If someone pointed a gun at him, Jun wouldn't be afraid, but the unknown that he had never experienced before scared him out of his wits. He didn't dare to let Yushu make a prophecy. If Yushu said that he would be hit by a car later, would he still be alive? Jun felt that he shouldn't stay here for long. He didn't think about taking revenge on Yushu because he felt that he couldn't fight back with his own strength. What was this? This was like a deity's manifestation. Otherwise, how could he explain the bouncy ball? Now that he thought about it, the jump balls he hit might have been arranged by the heavens. Otherwise, how could he hit them? When he thought about the strange things on the billiard table, the ball that was obviously weak seemed to have taken stimulants. How could he explain this? He didn't think much of it before, but now that he thought about it, the more he thought about it, the scarier it was. He had been fighting against a deity, how could he win? Now, the old lady was a cripple and she was fine, but he was crippled. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen next. He was so scared that he turned around and ran away with a limp. This place was too scary. After he got home, he needed to ask a few deities to perform a ritual to get rid of the bad luck on him. He didn't think that he was really crippled or had a crooked mouth. He thought that he was possessed by something unknown and he needed to ask a deity to perform a ritual. I know. Little girl, you must be a deity sent by the heavens. Only a fairy would have such a great magical power like yours. The old lady wasn't stupid. How could she not know that it was Yushu's doing when she saw that her sickness was transferred to an evil person in the blink of an eye? How could an ordinary person do such a thing? It must be done by a deity. As a result, the old lady subconsciously treated Yushu as a goddess, and was about to bow to Yushu. Yushu was shocked. How could she let the old lady bow to her? She quickly held on to her. "Grandma, please don't do this. It's not my doing." No matter how thick Yushu's skin was, she couldn't pretend to be a deity in front of the old lady. However, how could the old lady believe it? She only believed in what she saw. If it wasn't for Yushu, how would that gangster be punished? How would she be cured? Meng Yao and Yushu had no choice but to leave quickly. The old lady might have to kowtow again later, and they wouldn't be able to handle it. It wasn't until they got in the car that Meng Yao asked Lin Yi curiously. "Lin Yi, how did you do that?" Yeah, shield bro, how can the old grandma's illness be transferred?" Yushu asked curiously. "Ha." Lin Yi shrugged and started the car. "The old lady's illness is just a side effect of a stroke. In other words, it's just a blockage in her meridians. It can be cured with acupuncture. It's just that her family is poor and she hasn't been to the hospital before." Lin Yi was right. The old lady's illness wasn't an illness. It was just a side effect of the blockage in her meridians. Therefore, acupuncture could be used to cure it. However, in order to cure it instantly, Lin Yi had to transfer energy into her meridians. However, Lin Yi didn't tell Meng Yao and Yushu because they wouldn't understand even if he did. What about Jining Jun? How did he suddenly get the same illness as the old lady? Meng Yao knew that Lin Yi was a great doctor. Her poison and General Wei Wu's injuries were all cured by Lin Yi. However, it was easy to cure but hard to cure. How did Lin Yi create the illness for Jining Jun? Oh, it's the same principle. I used acupuncture to seal a few of his meridians, Lin Yi explained simply. In fact, he used energy to seal the meridians which caused the current situation. I see. Yushu suddenly understood, there's so much logic in it. Shield bro, what's with the pool? Pure energy, Lin Yi didn't know how to explain it and could only blame it on pure energy. Oh. Yushu knew about pure energy but didn't know much about it. She didn't ask further after hearing Lin Yi's explanation. Jining Jun didn't dare to stay any longer and hurriedly went to find his father, Jin Dazhou. Jin Dazhou was shocked when he saw his son Jining Jun's condition. He was still fine when he left the house in the morning. How did he turn into such a miserable state when he got home? What was going on? Dad, today's incident is really strange. I've never encountered such a weird thing. Jining Jun didn't hide anything and told his father everything that happened today. Dad, how is this possible? It doesn't make sense at all. Did he encounter something unclean? That's possible. Jin Dazhou was in the business of living on the edge and he was more superstitious. After hearing Jining Jun's words, he also felt that it was unbelievable. Elastic balls and such didn't make sense at all. You mean, those two women might not be humans? Fairies? It's possible. Jining Jun quickly nodded, those two girls are so beautiful, how can normal people look like that? I've picked up countless girls but I've never seen such a beauty. Now that I think about it, there's something wrong. Jin Dazhou took a deep breath and turned to Zhou Tiandi who hadn't spoken a word. Brother Tiandi, what do you think? Zhou Tiandi didn't know the truth and didn't know which deity Jining Jun offended. He was worried that his son, Zhou Ruoguang, was in trouble as well so he was distracted. I think Brother Dazhou's guess is possible. Maybe he encountered something unclean. Brother Tiandi, do you know any deities? Do you want him to do the ritual for Ingjun? Jin Dazhou didn't dare to delay. It was better to solve this problem as soon as possible. However, he didn't even think about going to the hospital because according to Jining Jun's description, this was a sign of being possessed. How could he be sick? Moreover, it's impossible to suddenly have a crooked mouth and limp legs. Who heard of such an acute illness? Chapter 840. How? Okay, money is not a problem. We must get a great deity here as soon as possible. Zhendaozhou said. People like him who were involved in the underworld were afraid of very few things. If they were afraid, they wouldn't have done such illegal things. But the more they did guilty things, the more afraid they were of ghosts and deities coming to punish them. That was why Zhendaozhou's house had many ghosts and deities. But what he was afraid of was what happened. Something happened as soon as he arrived at Songshan. Zhendaozhou's heart ached as he looked at his son's crooked mouth and limp leg. Son, please ask the great deity to protect you and let you return to normal as soon as possible. Okay. Zhenjun prayed in his heart in fear. Zhou Tiandi turned around and left the room. He didn't contact the great deity first and called his son, Zhou Ruoguang. Zhou Tiandi saw Zhenjun leave in anger and didn't dare to chase after him. He decided to let him relax by himself. Zhou Ruoguang wasn't stupid. He was calculating in his heart that since Zhenjun offended Lin Yi, should he stay away from him in the future? He couldn't be friends with this person. He'd be dead if he dragged him into this. Dad, what's wrong? Zhou Ruoguang picked up his father's call. Ruoguang, do you know about Zhenjun? Zhou Tiandi asked. He's possessed. Possessed? What do you mean? Zhou Ruoguang froze. He wanted to tell his father that Zhenjun offended Lin Yi and ask him to stay away from Zhenjun. He didn't want House So to be dragged into this. However, he heard that Zhenjun was possessed. He froze and didn't know what happened. How did he get possessed? Wasn't he fine before? Oh. You don't know. That's right, he got possessed after playing pool. Zhou Tiandi told his son how Zhenjun got possessed and asked, Ruoguang, are you alright? If you're fine, stay away from Zhenjun and don't drag you into this. Dad, that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Zhou Ruoguang was even more certain after hearing how Zhenjun was bewitched. The father and son from House Shin should stop messing around with them. They were dead meat for offending Lin Yi. He hurriedly said, Dad, how is he bewitched? Do you know who he offended? Do you know who he played pool with? Oh. Not possessed. Who did he offend? Tiandi paused, feeling like his son knew the truth. I've offended Hayashi Lin. Zhou Ruoguang said in horror. The person who played billiards with him is Hayashi Lin's friend. He made Hayashi Lin unhappy, so he naturally became like this. Dad, didn't you say that Hayashi Lin is omnipotent and omnipotent? Ha! Tiandi was shocked when he heard the name Hayashi Lin. He thought to himself, I was wondering why Zhenjun became like this. He offended Lin Yi. That's normal. If he offended Lin Yi, he wouldn't be able to call himself an immortal anymore. Ruoguang, these Shin's father and son are the bane of our existence. It seems like our discussion with them this time was a failure. I don't want to play with them anymore. Let them figure out their own business with the gambling boats and send them away. Don't drag us into this. Tiandi said decisively. Yeah, that's what I think too. This Zhenjun doesn't know what's good for him. He even wanted to hit on the two girls around Lin Yi. I told him that Lin Yi is very powerful, but he didn't listen. What happened in the end? Did he cause trouble? Zhou Ruoguang sighed. Alright, I got it. That Hayashi Lin didn't vent his anger on you, right? This was what Tiandi feared the most. As for the father and son from House Shin, it had nothing to do with him. No, there was a redhead who offended Hayashi Lin and I taught him a lesson. I could tell that Hayashi Lin was quite satisfied with it. Zhou Ruoguang said carefully. That's good. Tiandi nodded. Alright, I've already done my best by contacting a shaman for Jining Jun. Just send them away. Although Tiandi was stepped on by Lin Yi many times, he still had a lot of connections in Songshan. It didn't take long for him to contact a famous shaman. The shaman's name was Ku, and he was quite famous in this area. Anyone who had a wedding or a funeral would ask him to perform a ritual. However, no one could say for sure whether there was a method or not. Some people said that he caught evil spirits with his bare hands, and some said that he could talk to the dead. However, whether this was the case or not, only the evil spirits that were caught and the dead who talked to them knew. After Ku arrived, he started jumping up and down to perform a ritual for Jining Jun. He chanted the spell for 100 times and placed a yellow talisman on the tip of the peachwood sword. He mumbled something and suddenly shouted. He ignited the yellow talisman and extinguished it in a bucket of water. He brought it to Jining Jun and said to Jindajo, Master Jun was possessed by something called a vengeful spirit, that's why he has all these weird symptoms. I've already caught the vengeful spirit, but the evil energy in Master Jun's body can't be dispelled in a short period of time. He must drink holy water for 3 days to recover. Master, thank you for your hard work. Jindajo saw Master Ku baring his fangs and brandishing his claws like Monkey Sunday. Jindajo believed his words. This is the promised incense money. Please don't reject it. Sure. Ku looked at the thickness of the red packet. It was around 50,000 yuan and he smiled as he kept it. Jining Jun drank the water mixed with paper ash. He didn't know if the evil energy was dispelled, but he did have diarrhea. Ever since he drank the bowl of holy water, he started to have diarrhea and it didn't get better even after a whole night. However, Master Ku told him that this was the detoxification stage and he had to expel the evil poison out of his body. Jining Jun thought that his mana was effective and happily stayed in the toilet. The Zhou father and son maintained a cold attitude as they stood on the side. They didn't believe that a shaman could cure the illness that Hayashi Lin created for Jining Jun. However, they didn't say anything. It was fine as long as they knew it in their hearts. Why did they have to listen? What did Jindajo and Jining Jun's life and death have to do with them? What if God Lin finds out and blames the Zhou family? What if he blames them? Chapter 841. Chapter 841, Master Bing's new idea, paper ash mixed with cold water. You're going to shit too. Zhou Tiandi wasn't stupid. Was that something a human could drink? Wouldn't he die if he drank it? You're right. Zhou Ruoguang nodded. I think that Ku is obviously a liar. Only idiots like Jining Jun and his son would give 50,000 yuan. What an idiot. 3 days passed by in the blink of an eye and Jining Jun didn't show any signs of improvement. Instead, he had diarrhea and looked like he was going to faint at any time. Jindajo saw that it wasn't working. His son wasn't getting better at all. Instead, it was getting worse. Hence, he quickly dialed Master Aku's number and wanted to ask him to take another look. However, Master Aku's phone was turned off. At this moment, Jindajo finally realized that he was tricked by Master Aku. However, who could be blamed for this? Although Master Aku was found by Zhou Tiandi said that he didn't know any immortal and could only help. The immortal came with Jindajo's permission before treating Jining Jun. The incense money was also given by Jindajo willingly, so Zhou Tiandi couldn't be blamed for this. Jindajo was furious. Jining Jun was his only son and he doted on him a lot. This time, He came to Songshan to expand his family's business and bring his son along to broaden his horizons. He didn't expect such a disaster to happen. For a time, Zhendazhou also became a lot more haggard in one night, and the number of white hairs on his head also increased. Zhou Tiandi looked at Zhendazhou, who was sighing, and Jining Jun, who was in so much pain on the bed. He said sympathetically, "I don't think he's possessed. Should we go to the hospital?" Zhou Tiandi thought that since Lin Yi transferred the old lady's injury to Jining Jun, then Jining Jun must be sick too. What does it have to do with being possessed? This sentence reminded Zhendazhou. Zhendazhou rushed to the hospital with his son. After the doctor's examination, they came to a conclusion. Jining Jun's current condition was similar to the sequelae of stroke, epilepsy, and cerebral hemorrhage. There wasn't any immediate treatment for it, so he suggested to go to traditional Chinese massage and acupuncture. After hearing the doctor's words, Jining Jun finally understood that they weren't bewitched. The sequela of the paralyzed old lady was transferred to Jining Jun. Although she didn't know how it was transferred, the disease did run to Jining Jun. Jining Jun wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Why? Wasn't it because he kicked that old lady's knitting bag? But she didn't have to be so ruthless, directly transferring her illness to herself. The father and son were very depressed. They were fooled by the shaman, but they found out that the truth was not the case at all. Moreover, this disease was not easy to treat. The Chinese medicine hospital's explanation was also very simple. No one could guarantee a complete cure. This kind of sequela could only be treated. Maybe it could be alleviated, and there might be a miracle. After the examination, Jining Jun's meridians were not normal blocked. His condition was different from the old lady's. The old lady's condition was real sequela, but Jining Jun's was a disease created by Lin Yi's energy. The condition of the blocked meridians was also different from normal sequela. In other words, Jining Jun's body looked normal on the surface, but his meridians were blocked by a strange force. This made the Chinese medicine hospital's doctors feel strange. When they asked about Jining Jun's medical history, Jining Jun was too embarrassed to say that he was cursed by the gods and could only answer vaguely. However, the more it was like this, the more the doctors couldn't find a suitable solution. They could only let him treat it first. Treat it? How could Zhendazhou let the doctors treat him? He only had one son and now he became like this. If he didn't cure him, what was the use of having a huge family business without anyone to inherit it? Thus, Zhendazhou panicked and asked Zhou Tiandi to investigate the upper class of Songshan City to see if there was a miracle doctor who could cure Jining Jun's condition. Zhendazhou was willing to pay 1 million as a reward. Zhendazhou was really panicking, otherwise he wouldn't take out so much money. He brought Jining Jun to many specialists, but none of them had a good treatment plan for Jining Jun's condition. There were big hospitals and private clinics, but they all said they would treat him, no one promised that they could cure him. The cooperation between Zhendazhou and Zhou Tiandi was temporarily put on hold. In fact, Zhou Tiandi was happy to see this. He didn't dare to have anything to do with the Jin father and son anymore. These two unlucky bastards offended Lin Yi and caused such a huge disaster. How could he cooperate with them? Dream on. However, Zhou Tiandi was unhappy that since the Jin father and son didn't want to cooperate, they should just leave. Why were they still here? Didn't Donghai also have great doctors? Why did they have to stay in Songshan City? In fact, Zhendazhou still had some superstitious thoughts in his heart. He thought that since Jining Jun's problem happened in Songshan City, there must be a solution in Songshan City. There was a cycle of cause and effect. This was the reason why he insisted on staying in Songshan City temporarily. In the floating cloud bar, Zihua reported the recent happenings in Songshan to the wheelchair-bound Zhao Qibing. The demolition went smoothly, and the residents of the slums happily moved away after receiving the compensation. It was just that the compensation was a little too much for them to pay. After reporting about the demolition, Sihua told Zhao Qibing about what happened to the Jin father and son from Donghai and how they asked for help. He didn't expect Zhao Qibing's eyes to light up after hearing it. He said he's going to pay 1 million as a reward. This business seems to be quite profitable. That's true. After all, life is more important than money. Sihua nodded and said, and I heard that Jinningjuan's illness is quite strange. He got it because he offended Lin Yi. There was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world, especially when Zhou Tiandi and Zhou Ruoguang knew about it. There was no need to keep it a secret. In the upper class of Songshan City, everyone basically knew that Jiningjun offended Lin Yi and got what he deserved. Who was Lin Yi? He was the ruthless person who crippled Zhao Qibing and pushed down Qibing's skyscraper. Those young masters with a high status all knew about this, but they didn't dare to bring it up because of Zhao Qibing's power. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.